The Drop with Frank and Brian is officially brought to you by Switch Suspension. Switch Suspension specializes in all vehicle chassis components. Lift kits, lowering kits, air ride suspension, wheels, tires, steering, and brake upgrades. They use all the best products from the best brands. And these guys are truck guys. You roll into their parking lot at the shop and they all drive custom vehicles. So they use their products that they sell on their own vehicles. So if you guys are looking for anything for your vehicles, whether you're just starting out or you just need some replacement parts or whatever, give them a call or visit their website, switchsuspension.com.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of The Drop. If you like these podcasts and all the other content we create, head on over to our websites and purchase merch. Purchasing merch keeps us going and creating more content. Our websites are grinder-tv.com and livelifecustom.com. We really appreciate it. Now on to the episode. There, now we're recording. Okay.
So do you try not to look at the light?
You look wherever you want.
Yeah.
Just, no, I'm kidding. All right. Welcome to this week's episode. We're here. We are just freshly back from the reunion show.
It is literally Saturday night. And if you come and stay at this house,
Yep.
then you have to come and record.
You got to
an
come do the
episode. It's the
podcast.
new rule.
It's mandatory.
And now we're sitting here with Brent from our club, Forbidden Fantasy, who's been in for much, much longer than I have. So we'll get to that in a minute.
If you count like the continuously of coming around.
Well, easy.
We never really get out.
You don't get out. You don't get
Easy.
jumped in, you get jumped out.
Well, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Will. No, I was kidding.
Will?
Will. Never mind. Moving on. But anyway, yeah, we're back from the show. I'm a little tired. Got a monster going down. But I figure we'll start off with that. We'll get acclimated, talk about the show, and then we'll get into Brent here in a second.
Or, as some may know him, Brant on Marketplace.
Brant, yeah.
Brant.
If you come across a Brant on Marketplace,
You come across people selling C10
With
stuff.
zero friends. No friends.
yeah,
But a hell of a purchase history.
no friends, 5-star seller.
5 stars. Yeah. It's
Do they do that on Marketplace? Do they rate sellers and stuff?
It's not a scam. It could be real.
I'm delving into that world, and we'll get into that much later.
Yes.
But I'm delving into that world of Marketplace and looking at things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna need some advice from you.
Oof. I don't know if I'd take mine, but
The only advice is like out here in Phoenix, if it looks like if you're looking for a vehicle for sale and it's extremely cheap and it's in front of a brick house with greenery around it, it's not from Phoenix. It's a scam.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that's not Phoenix
if it
for
looks
one.
like a jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it looks like a jungle,
Probably
it's
not in Phoenix.
South
Yeah.
America.
Nice greenery.
No, it's like the East Coast, like where they have brick homes.
I
Like
see.
we don't have brick homes.
So what people do basically is just find like a photo of a vehicle
stock
and then
photo.
just put up for sale and then try to scam people out of money.
Yep. Send me
That's
a
wild.
deposit, whatever.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Ever happen to you? One of you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, really? No way.
Close. I didn't go through with it, but yeah, you could.
They'll wrap you up fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes you almost fall for it too, because it's like what price it should be.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, so yeah, because the ones I've
so
seen,
it's like
are-
it won't be so cheap that you know it's a scam, but it's not so expensive that you can't afford it. It's like, oh, this is kind of a possibility.
Yeah. No, that's wild. Yeah, because I've seen the ones where they're like a Tacoma, super nice Tacoma, $1,200. And it's like,
Are you looking for a Tacoma?
no, I didn't say anything like that. I didn't say anything like that. Actually, what's funny
Shopping
enough,
already?
what's funny is if you go back and if you've listened carefully, I said a while ago, I said, you know what, I need to put my Tacoma dreams to bed, and I said that on the podcast.
And now you need to wake them
Well,
up.
now they're maybe a little. No, maybe not woken up. Maybe a little.
Listen.
They're
Just
very
little,
restless. They're
A
not
little
falling asleep.
nudge.
Not falling asleep quietly.
Yeah, little nudge. But anyway, we went to the reunion today. That was a killer show. Had a lot of fun. Yesterday, you want to take us through the whole thing, or you want me to take us through the whole
Well,
thing?
actually, it's all going to come out in one of my videos.
Yeah, well, both of our videos.
Both of our videos.
We'll
I
show
think
the
we
whole.
should still take them through.
I think we
yeah,
should too.
yeah, we'll
So,
walk them through it.
I went Thursday. So today's Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, I put the Tacoma on the open bed trailer, drove it down to Pandas. We did a bunch of work on it. And then I came home, and then you guys came out here Thursday night. And then Friday morning, we took the Maverick with the merch trailer, the small merch trailer, out to Pandas because the plan was I was going to drive it from Pandas to the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Except
Under its own power.
under its own power.
For the first time.
No trailering or nothing, just driving it. But the weather had other ideas.
It did.
It was 45 degrees. It was raining. It was hailing. And it was everything was flooded. The streets were flooded, and I was like, I'm not driving this truck in this weather.
PTSD.
Not really PTSD from LST, but more or less is like, if this truck, I can't drive this truck. The air filter, the water is right there. 2, if something happens, I don't want to be stuck on the side of the road. 3, it doesn't have windshield wipers. And like, there was just all sorts of these little reasons.
Forgot the license plate and paperwork too.
No,
you had
there.
that.
I had that. Paperwork.
When you took off this morning and was driving away, did you have the paperwork with you?
Yeah, it's in the.
Okay.
There's a pocket in the back of the passenger seat, and I slid it in.
Oh, because I was wondering. I was like, I was looking around in the Maverick. I'm like, oh shit. But you remembered it.
Yeah. So then I was like, screw it. We'll just do the booth. We'll just do the show, and because Pandas is like 30 minutes from where the show is, so we go do the pre-party thing. It's not raining anymore. It's just
you're like kind of skipping over a little bit.
What did I do?
Because there was some PTSD from LST, because LST was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so we had gotten over that. Listen to the last episode, we talked all about it. We had gotten past that, ready for this show, and the forecast was showing rain-ish, but it really rained.
It was so the Friday morning was only supposed to rain between around 9 and 10 in the morning, and the rest of the day just showed cloudy. But it wouldn't stop raining. It finally did not stop raining until.
Stop or a break? It gave us a break.
Yeah, that's what I was leading up to. So we're at Pandas. It's raining badly. We decided no Tacoma as of this moment, no Tacoma. But then we're like, we still got to go set the booth up. So we rock up to the show. It's still raining.
Yeah.
We pull up. We kind of like get to the area where we're going to set up, and it's pouring rain. There's other vendors setting up, soaking wet.
Oh yeah, I have video of that. I'll put it here.
And we were like, man, this is going to suck. But we knew the whole time we knew today was going to be good. So we just had to push through that one part. So we're like, this is going to suck. And then we had made the suggestion, like, why don't we just wait just a little bit?
Because we're on the app, the weather app, and we're like, it looks like it's going to have a break in about 30 minutes. So we just sat in the Maverick, and we were watching other people.
They were soaking wet.
They were soaking wet, and it's just plopping through the grass. So we're just sitting in there, nice and heat. Roll down the window every once in a while, wave at someone, roll the window back up, and then all of a sudden, no rain.
Yeah,
and we just went. Like the door flew open.
Went for it.
Trailer flew open. We put everything. We put the Easy Up. We wrapped the Easy Up in the walls. And it started raining again. We got in the truck and left.
Yep. Yeah. And then that's when we went to like the pre-party. And
then that's when I text Panda and said, hey, man, we're sitting in the hotel room. We went to check into the hotel, which is right by the show. And I was like, hey, man, what if we just go get the Tacoma right now?
Yeah, so that was a moment in time.
Well, because it did stop raining by this point.
It did. It stopped raining. It was like 6, right? And I text Panda. I was like, hey, can you meet us at the shop? We're going to come get the Tacoma now. And then 2 seconds later, I go, never mind. I talked myself out of it.
Yeah.
And then he was just back. He's like, I'm leaving for a club meeting at 7. So up until that point, I'll meet you there.
Oh, yeah. Because we were talking about going to get it right then.
Yeah, right then.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then talked myself out of it. And then later on, I was like, with the help of both of you.
Us and like other people too, because we were kind of like telling other people.
We were at the pre-party and everyone's like, "You bringing the Tacoma tomorrow? You bringing the Tacoma tomorrow?" And
yeah.
Man, people are paying attention to this stuff.
Dude. Yeah.
So I was like, "All right, Panda, we'll be there at 6:30 in the morning." So we left the hotel, drove 30 minutes, got the truck. Well, had to put diff fluid in the truck. Got the truck and then drove 30 minutes back to the show.
Yeah. Well, and also in that time leading up to that moment, because like. You later on realize that like, I wasn't necessarily you realize it wasn't necessarily the rain, but you were just worried about it breaking down or something.
Yeah. I was just worried about
multiple things breaking down.
Multiple things. Because this truck the farthest before that is just around the block a couple times.
Yeah.
And so I think, and then you kind of like acknowledge that you're like, oh, this is really why I'm like kind of hesitant to do this.
There was also like a mental thing there too, like if this breaks down, it has failed.
Yes.
And I just was trying to like in my head go, well, if I don't drive it, it won't break down.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just had to get over that little hump and just go get it.
Also, another huge factor that I wasn't really focusing on because I was still trying to persuade you into doing this was. And it's in retrospect, it's fine now, but it really would have put a kink in things for vending the show.
That's what I was.
No,
worried about
you had that definitely. It wasn't you weren't absent of that thought, but I felt if I would have said anything more, that would have you would have. Oh yeah, no.
Oh yeah, if I would have gotten the go from you,
not the go, but like the more like kind of focused on the idea.
True.
You know what I mean?
Well, because I had already ruined your experience at LST. And then imagine if my truck breaks down and I just ruin the experience. And you just leave and never
low
come back
key
here.
In the back of my mind, I was like,
Friday night,
dude,
he was thinking.
no, actually, when you pulled the truck out of the gate and was leaving Panda Shop, I'm like,
if something
this
happens,
could be a bad idea.
Yeah, we could lose a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But we had a plan. I have straps in the Maverick and we were just flat tow it. But what if there was like it didn't move and we couldn't flat tow it? I didn't have a bad thought until we got 2 miles from the exit from the show, because that's when the construction started and the wall came in. There was no more shoulder. So I'm driving and I'm like, I could just, if something breaks and I just go slamming into the wall and I'm just like, and then when I got up the freeway, I was like, oh, this thing's fine. It's totally fine.
That was the other thing. So it was good.
Yeah.
So you like that. That's what now I want to know. It's like the experience of, because like you're all by yourself in the truck. Me and Brent were in the Maverick. Panda was driving his Tacoma, and so it was like, oh, and then the other funny part was like you were kind of riding a little dirty, kind of high.
Yeah. So it just has a switch. There's no leveling in it.
Right.
So I don't know where I'm at. So I'm learning what more my limits are on it.
And then we told you're like, oh, you're riding a little dirty, and you're like, how come you didn't tell me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we all were like, we were like, we're not gonna whatever experience you're going through right now, we're not gonna like.
No, I would have rather you guys went, hey, you're too high, lower the front.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to be.
Yeah, you want to be rolling hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait till you see the video.
No, the video's dope.
Yeah.
The rolling shots is just super freaking cool.
I did, like at the last part, I did lower the front a little bit, but I got to figure that out.
Yeah, but it was still cool.
Yeah.
It was still really cool. What an amazing experience. Like everybody, like it was really cool to be there for that moment as like a group, you driving it, us watching it, experiencing this whole thing for the
other
first
cool
time.
part about it for me was with Panda.
Because he built
He built a lot of it. You know what I mean? The only other better thing would have been if Tanner was in his mini truck driving all three of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would have been like that's the main components to that truck is Tanner and Panda.
Right.
So it's like, but Tanner, I know he's listening too right now. So you just got to finish your mini truck and then we can have that moment together too.
Another cool moment that you mentioned, which was really cool, is the forbidden no regrets thing. That was super cool. Like,
that was
all full circle kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
2 trucks driving to a show, just 2 friends.
Yep.
And in cool trucks. Yeah.
It was cool. Awesome experience. And then you get to the show and everybody was stoked.
I know.
So many people.
As soon as I get in, they're just like, oh, hey. And I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Now the spotlight's kind of turned on you.
I know. It's really, I don't like that. Like, it's not that I don't like it, but I like the spotlight being on other people.
Yeah. But I mean, you have put in so much effort into this thing that you deserve it.
Yeah.
Maybe not, deserve, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like also what was, because if let's go kind of farther back, because a few months ago, I was like, the reunion fell right in between Forbidden, because last year the show was the same weekend as the Forbidden show, so really couldn't make it work. Well, could at all make it work. So I was like, oh, I'm going to take the Forerunner to this show. And as we got closer and I did my thing, I didn't do that. But now in retrospect, this was the best case scenario.
Also, but like it also would have been sick if your Forerunner was there.
Pandas, Forerunner, your truck. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would have
and then in front of the booth, we could have pitched it sideways and just had,
that would have been cool. But however, I think it was cool because, like, look, we're here in Arizona.
Yep.
We're at that show. Your booth is set up. I was occupying like a little space in the corner, like I do. But I kind of wrench my way in there. But it was really fitting to have your booth with your logos and your truck sitting there and everybody, experiencing that. It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
And the show itself was cool. The show was rad.
Yep. It was.
The reunion, I guess
it went by too fast.
It went by really fast.
But the pre-party was fun.
A lot of mini trucks.
A lot of mini trucks.
Yeah.
I think the word
Good assortment. The word got out.
The word got out. It did. Because at first it's Ronnie and Sam, and they're the C10 guys.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, "Oh, it's a C10 show," and they're like, "The first year
I thought it was a C10 show."
Yeah. And then slowly they're like, no, we want more and more and more. And they did a good job by reaching out to the right people and making sure. So
yeah, it was a great show. So the theme for that, so it's called The Reunion, and their whole like shtick
like
for the
class
show.
reunion.
Yeah, it's like a class reunion. I didn't know this before, but like every year was like a theme, but like a year in high school. So like their first one was freshman, and now so this is the fourth one, so it's the senior year, which leads me to my next question: like, what if they want to do it more?
So I had an idea, and I told Ronnie that next year should be Saturday detention.
Oh, that I like that
because you could go right into the college years, like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
But then you skipped over this whole thing. So you can do like Saturday, you could do like break-offs of the high school, like summer school.
Yeah.
Like they could have done summer school in between the other ones, but you could just go into summer school, Saturday detention, after school, whatever, like like suspension.
There's
so many.
This is all the things that happened to me in high school. I didn't make it to the senior part. I just made it to the detention and the suspension and the eventually getting kicked out twice. Yeah. So, yeah.
It was kind of cool, though, because they fit the theme into everything. Like,
well, so here's a funny thing. Brent was like, why are people dressed up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, man, Arizona people are just weird. but then I was like, all right, that's what I get for not knowing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Then it kind of made sense. All right.
Yeah, and it's actually really cool that people dress up for that, like that participate in that.
Mm-hmm.
Even their kids and it was like families.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's a vibe for sure.
And like you got all the Kern County guys that come out and dress like it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the C10 dudes, I know it's not a C10 show, but the C10 dudes are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They just like to get together and have like a really good time. So yeah, it was really cool. I also liked how they incorporated it into like the awards. Mm-hmm. You know, they had like what was the thing that they were doing on stage towards the end, like the costume contest thing was like the king and queen kind of thing.
I think so.
I think that's what the vibe was. I didn't quite catch that.
I didn't either. I got there right as it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the awards were like 80s themed electronics, like cell phones and stuff. And then he gave us those little pagers that were the like
3D printed.
Yeah, 3D printed pagers. It was cool.
I'd say Ronnie does a really good job with this, but it's actually his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of, and they have to forgive me in the video because usually at the end of, well, my video is a little more complicated than that, but not complicated, but there's more to it. But at the end of the video, I usually go like, you know, great show. Thanks to, you know, this person who puts it on. And then I really like, I don't know who puts the show on. Like, I know it's Ronnie for sure.
Yeah. Ronnie,
you know?
Sam,
and Oro. Is Oro involved?
Nope.
No, Oro's not involved.
No.
Well, then he got a good shout out on the video. I take that back.
You could just dub over it when you're talking.
Yeah.
You're like Oro, but it says Ronnie.
And no, Ronnie's wife. When I said Ronnie and I said Sam, I said Ronnie, Sam, and then I'll dub Ronnie's wife's name over Oro. Autumn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be like Autumn. Oro.
That works.
But yeah, no, killer show, killer time, killer cool rides.
Great day. Beautiful weather.
The weather. Yeah.
The contrasting from the weather to it was a little cold, but the sun was out, no clouds. Mm-hmm. And but the contrast from today,
a little cold for people from Arizona, maybe.
Yeah, yesterday was
Otherwise, it's not bad.
Yeah, usually we don't get the cold and the rain at the same time, and that's what we had yesterday.
Yeah, which is the same. It
was literally the same weather as LST.
I know.
And Lonnie was texting us, laughing at us.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Justifiably so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was funny. It was definitely funny. And then he's all, "Oh, you guys gonna go home?" I said, "No, we put on our big boy pants today."
Brian did.
Yeah. Brian put on his big boy pants. But yeah, so killer show. So now Brent, Mr. Brent.
Hello. Man, I'm just fortunate enough to be out here for the weekend.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. We don't get to hang out much, but it's a ton of fun when we hang out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Sometimes it's once a year. Sometimes it's once every 2 years. And then, but lately, like you were here just in New Year's, and now you're here again in March. So we should make this definitely like a new trend.
It's not very far. I mean, you're practically in Blythe.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Practically live in California.
I know. It's just an excuse.
No, it's cool.
So who's Brent?
Who is Brent?
Where were you born?
Brent?
Who's Brent?
No.
Brant. Well, to be fair, sometimes it's Brett.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll slip Brett. Even I didn't
answer to it.
I didn't know if you noticed this at one of the like club Christmas parties or something, like, but Roulette called you Brett a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've known him longer than I've known him. Shouldn't you know that? But
I just go with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an honest mistake. It's very close. It's super close. But so how did you get into Forbidden? Let's start there.
All right. So let's see, man. I was always into mini trucks and stuff in high school, cars. And my first run was like Rezo 98.
Oh, nice.
And
everybody's first run.
Was it Rezo 98?
yeah.
So was that Prado or was that
It was
Skinner?
Lake Dolores.
So we were already at Lake
Yeah,
Dolores.
Lake Dolores.
All right.
And freezing cold, great time. I was just...
Was that the year Ernie brought his Mitsu out and Time Machine was there? And
No, not that. No.
No, it was.
That was 03.
No,
No.
that was...
It couldn't have been 98 because I didn't exist. I mean, I existed, but not in the scene in 98.
I still have the beanie souvenir.
I bet you it's...
And
I
it
bet
says
you.
on there, like, resolutions.
98?
Yeah.
So Resolutions 2000 was supposed to be at Lake Dolores and they canceled it and it was at Calico Ghost.
Yeah, Calico. But I was still 1 year. I got in 2001.
Yeah. It was at Lake Dolores a few years, but there was the one year that Ernie had his Mitsu there. Time Machine was there.
It was 2000.
That's his. He said it was his first.
I think you're getting something. I don't know. I'm not here to argue.
Maybe
okay?
it's 99, but I feel like it was. I feel like
You
it's
might
98.
get. Okay.
You guys were camped right on the corner by the lake. When you first, when you pull in and you wrap around, TJ was there. That's kind of who I went with. He had a camper.
No, it had to have been later because my first run. Okay, hold on. My first run it was Rezo 95. It was at Paris Fairgrounds, and then 96 was at Prado, and then 97 was at what's the stadium right there? The 215 and 15.
Oh, Glen Helen.
Glen Helen.
Mm-hmm. That was my first Arizona. 2001 was in Glen Helen.
Oh yeah, I went to that. I was at that one too.
Yeah,
but that was Brent was in the club then. The other Brent.
There was another Brent.
Brent.
yeah, the guy that did my tattoo.
Brent Van. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Brent
his
Van.
name was Brett too.
No.
Jeez. Okay.
Either way, it was at Lake Dolores.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a kid, but it was an awesome experience.
I could look it up right now. You guys talk.
Yeah.
I'm going on truckrun.net.
Yeah, and super cool. The person I went with knew people from Forbidden.
Was it Joe?
TJ.
TJ. Okay.
So TJ used to bag people's vehicles and
This was the guy that you were talking about. Yeah.
He lived in
He
Whitewater.
did him like dirty.
Yeah.
Not dirty, but like he kind of
he
loaded.
had a torch and he had a welder, so he was,
Yeah.
one step up from everybody else.
He had a 110 flux core welder.
Oh, really? And he's out there bagging
Yeah.
trucks.
You can do it. You just got to do it slowly.
Uh huh.
And it worked. Like nothing ever broke. People came back and got more work. But he got in with some guys from Forbidden, and I went to a meeting, and I was hooked after that.
Yeah. What'd you have at that time?
91 Toyota.
Nice.
Yeah. Started out, just air shocks, C-notch.
Standard cab.
Yep. Standard cab, no AC, vinyl floors, base model. Ended up step notch, bags, body drop, doing the whole thing. And then,
Rezo 98 was in Temecula.
all right, 99.
Look, go to 03 and then look at the vehicles that were
Yeah.
there.
So 2000.
Ernie's red
Yeah.
extra cab Mitsu.
So he's
His
right.
Time machine.
Where's 99?
I didn't have 99 on here. But yeah, this is Lake Dolores. Let's see. Yep.
So did you have that truck? Like, was that your first vehicle, or you had a bunch of
No,
vehicles?
my first car was a Volkswagen Bug.
Oh, nice. Every car guy starts in Volkswagens or mini trucks.
I was reading magazines when I was
Hot VW.
14, 15. Had a neighbor up the street that had a Bug dropped. And
Do you ever want a Bug again? I never had a Bug, but I always thought it would be cool to have it because a slam
They are
Bug.
cool.
Yeah,
You know,
slam bugs are sick.
I like all cars, so
Mm-hmm.
I always think it would be cool to have, but we'll see.
Yeah, your portfolio of vehicles is pretty diverse. Like you've had mini trucks and the car that I met you with when I got into the club. So I got into the club I got in 15, but was hanging out in like 14, and I was actually hanging out way before that.
Yeah,
because
this is the year. Freeman's, Ernie's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Remember
Time Machine.
Freeman's truck was there. Yeah.
Chad Lucas's frame for his Pathfinder was there.
Yep. That was a
Joe,
golden year. Man.
Millionaire.
That was a golden
Mossberry Delight was there from BC.
Mm-hmm.
That was that the first time at.
You know whose this is? That's Mike Gallego's truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It really wasn't up to the same level as the other trucks, but it's still
Right,
cool.
right. Is that the one that had the zebra stuff?
Yeah,
on it?
that's why his new truck has a little zebra. It's like
Yeah.
an ode
It's
to
like a
it.
tribute, like a
Yeah.
tribute.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good job, Gallego.
Right. Yeah.
No, what I was saying is, I started hanging out in like 14 officially, but I've been hanging out with the club for a lot longer before that. But I knew the first time I met you is when you had your Cadillac, and I think that is like, I don't know if that's probably what most people know you for. Actually, what's funny enough is we were talking to Lindsay from Service DVD today, and they took a picture of your car, and it's like a pretty well-known photo that Nick Crouch did, and it was a superimposed like elongated photo of the back of your Cadillac, and like it was in magazines, and like he made prints so people bought it and stuff like that. And then Lindsay came up to the booth today, and she's like, "Who's that guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's Brent from our club."
Yeah.
And he's all, "Do I know him?" I said, "Well, you don't know him, but you know his car." And then she I explained it to her. She's like, "Oh, I have that above my kitchen and right now at my house."
Yeah.
So like,
And I think doesn't Will and Brienne have it?
yeah, a lot of people have it. That's because Nick made that, and he was like selling prints of it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of, and I think the license plate says FFF.
It says fantasy.
Oh, it says fantasy.
Yeah, he modified it.
Okay.
The black plates to say.
Yeah.
He did some Photoshop on there to make it say fantasy, but.
Yeah, so that's when I first met you, and then our first time hanging out is coming out here to Art of Noise, going to Santeezy's, eating wings, doing karaoke, acting wild. So much fun, dude.
Yeah. So what happened to that Toyota? You got in an accident.
Got in an accident. I had it all body dropped. Interior was done, all shaved. Half was painted because it went through multiple stages, and then the primered area was like kind of the cab with the doors. And I went to Ontario Mills, and
Nice.
we were on our way back, and there was like a Civic and like a couple other cars, and we were on the freeway, and I had to drag, so messing with my ball valves, right. I'm like, give me my ball valves, the big.
Wait, which ones did you have? Did you have the ones that had the little plastic top or the?
No, the big red.
Yeah, I had those too.
Red,
Yeah, those are the ones I had
didn't have
too.
those ones. I always had the little like the little like
plastic.
the sprinkler ones.
Yeah.
Not the ones but the single red like boonk.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So I had one ball valve to open,
Yeah.
one to let out. So it was like I had six, had this big old contraption on the seat.
Yeah, right here. So you had to close the out, and then you had to open the thing, and then open one.
And so unfortunately, I had to kind of take my eyes off the road sometimes. And we were, so we were like hitting the side and just like dragging the pinch down the freeway and playing with this other car going back and forth, and like right there in Rialto, the traffic where it just stops. And like, so we're messing around, they're looking, like me and Joe's with me, we're like, the minute I look forward, like the traffic is just stopped.
Oh shit.
And so we lock it up and we slide and just right under the rear end of this car.
Oh,
and so since we were so low, it just like, it was a Camry, just went right under the back bumper, and the lady's bumper kind of came off. And the whole front of the car is smashed. The hood's collapsed. The radiator's leaking. Smoke's coming out. And she's like, we get out of the car. She just clips her bumper back on like they take off. And I'm like, so we're just sitting there on the freeway like, damn, dude, we like, no inner fender wells, no structure.
When you rear end someone in a truck like that, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
It was bad. And by this point, it had been through like so many little fixes, and
So did it go to the wrecker, or what happened?
got totaled after that. They came and looked at it and totaled it.
Yeah.
And by this
Did you have full coverage insurance on it?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Wow. That's
responsible.
That's responsible. Yeah.
I was still making
because I was
payments
gonna.
on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, that was the first one. Like, my mom was like, I'll co-sign for you to get this little. I was like, I want this Toyota, And it was like,
Hey, my mom did the same thing for that Tacoma out there.
Co-signed it. I was making like $150 a month on payments on it, and so yeah, I didn't want it back. I was ready to move on to something else, and then
So that truck went to the wrecker.
went to the wrecker. I bought an S10 in my name this time, and I ended up seeing the cab and the bed like for sale on Craigslist.
Oh, really?
Back in the day in San Diego area, and I was like, I know that
The Toyota?
bed. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because my bed was like, we body dropped it. We were still getting used to like how to do things the right way. But I had like the cutout in the middle over the axle.
Yeah.
And like a piece of plexiglass. Remember, it was like cool to put angle iron in there and have something like.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I saw the bed and I'm like, that's mine. So I started talking to the guy because mine was purple. So, yeah, it's parted out somewhere. But
What S10 did you have? What did you get?
I got a 2000. It was like electric blue, and then I had 18s. Went to the 20-inch KMC units. After
Oh,
that.
nice.
The units are still good.
20-inch wheels in the early 2000s. You were like balling.
Yeah, that was
dude.
I went
Yeah.
and got my taxes done that time. I'm getting 20s. You know what I mean? So, yeah, living at home, disposable income, no kids. It was cool.
Yeah.
But,
And then there was a gap, wasn't there?
yeah, there was a gap.
The first gap.
Like you went, the first gap. Like
First
you,
gap, man,
you,
life is crazy how it happens. But,
yeah, that's when like you probably like got married.
yeah,
'Cause
so
we-
me and my wife, we were high school sweethearts. So we were still together all these years. And then we waited to have kids, but we got married probably like, I think I was 23.
Oh, wow.
24. So we waited a while, and then we had kids even later than that. So I don't know why the gap, but it was like I always worked.
Yeah.
That was part of my problem.
But then
It
you
was
got
like,
that Cadillac.
I had another Cadillac before that one.
Yeah.
And
There's going to be
yeah.
a theme coming up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that one a 4-door?
That one was.
So they're both the Cadillacs are
Yeah.
4-doors.
That's not the theme I'm talking
Oh,
about.
that's not the theme. Okay.
Yeah.
No, the theme I'm talking about is
Buying and selling.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. The beginning of the whole
But I think
Brent's
what
process.
really started it off is me losing money on the Cadillac and you giving me so much shit for the 4-door.
Yeah.
That ever since then I'm like, if I can sell it and make money, I'm selling it.
So Brian basically has
He-
traumatized
yeah.
you.
I used to talk a lot of crap to Brent.
Yes.
It was really bad.
Well, you talking to me too because I like 4-door cars. But
No,
this
it's not
man
about
actually-
liking
It's to
4-door
everyone.
cars.
It's just anything in general.
Yeah.
It's well, yeah, no, I know what you're gonna say. It's not just about liking 4-door cars. It's about how Brent built this particular car.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell
There's
us
no
about
problem with liking 4-door cars. There is
How
a
did I build
problem
this
with
one?
putting
Going overboard.
$100,000 into a car that's worth 20.
Yeah.
I agree, but when you're younger, you don't know.
If you're a millionaire, it don't matter what you do.
You know,
But
I could talk myself into anything, and I could talk myself out of anything.
Oh, this fool almost talked me into
it's
some
terrible.
shit earlier.
I was watching it
Like-
unfold. I'm
I'm
all,
like-
there's no.
Don't do that.
I try to talk myself into stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't know, that could be cool.
Brent's like the little devil on your
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, this thing, you could do this. You could
Yeah,
do
why don't you
this.
just do this?
It's really easy.
I
Look
do
at
that
it.
because I'm thinking that's what I would do. So I project it onto other people. Yeah.
That's what he was doing to me.
Yes. So you had another Cadillac, and then you sold that one. You got your 4-door, and you rocked that one
Yeah,
just
so I had,
patina
I
for a
had
while.
a few cars and in between, always going to shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Never, just maybe I distanced myself, maybe I didn't. Like then there was a time where we were still like, I'd still make appearances,
Yeah.
go see everybody, but I think around the time I had kids, I convinced my wife that it was a good idea to go look at this Cadillac that was for sale. I'm like, dude, I want another Cadillac, right? So it's always about the first purchase because it's like it has to be a good deal, right? Well, there's no 2-doors that are ever a good deal.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I'm like, damn, this one's kind of cool. And then like what sold me at the time because I wasn't as educated was like no post, hard top, no post.
Yeah, hard
So
top.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
those are the
you know
best.
what? Like I kind of like this part because I'm like, I kind of want to fix it up. Like I
No
love
post.
that. I love
It's
the
good,
no
a good
post.
deal.
It's super open, and I was like, I got kids right now, or one kid at the time, so I'm like, this could be cool. So, yeah, I rocked kind of patina for a little bit.
I remember it. The first
Before
time I
patina
saw it,
was cool.
What was the wheels you had on there? Weren't they truck
It was
wheels?
terrible.
It was so
I
bad.
don't remember the wheels. I remember the car because I remember one Forbidden when you had it like parked kind of like near the speedway.
When it was painted.
No, before it was painted.
Oh,
it was
okay.
patina.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember saying, like, damn, the thing is so
That's
sick.
when kind of like I think me and you first started talking
I think so, yeah.
because you were like, tell me about your Cadillac and
Yeah, what
you were
year?
selling
What year
BS
was that?
You were selling BST stuff at Forbidden.
Don't ask
I
him what
was-
year because he's like,
Yeah,
you don't know
I'm
nothing
no
now.
good
So
at years.
He's
my-
like, that was 1967.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? So my Cadillac year, I had a 61. Same thing. Mine was a little bit different because yours was a cool. So even though you're talking about that like hardtop versus post car, there are still two types of hardtops. There are cool hardtops and non-cool hardtops. You had a cool hardtop. I had a 61. I forget the model number, but it had a weird back window.
Oh,
like
the flat top.
No, it wasn't a flat
No.
top. It kind of did this. It went back and then went like this and then like this. Yours was like very swoopy, right?
Yeah.
And I think that might be the DeVille. I don't know.
There's like Series 62.
Yeah, I think something like that.
There's
Oh,
just-
you know what? No, mine was Fleetwood. Was mine a Fleetwood?
Fleetwood.
I think mine was a Fleetwood, and that's why it was weird.
Oh, it has like that extra rib in the
That's
on
exactly-
the body, and the window's smaller.
Yes.
the window's small, but
On the roof,
top-
it's got
but
a
the
rib
top's
that
got
you're
that
turning.
extra bend with the body line on it.
Yes,
that's
yeah.
a
So I
Fleetwood.
had a Fleetwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your? You don't remember what
Mine
yours
was a
was?
Series 62 sedan.
Okay, that was so. There's much cooler.
It was a bigger window in the back.
Yeah. So it was definitely a cool car. So I had mine in like 07, 06, 07. And I think you had yours a little bit before that. Because I remember seeing it posted up at Forbidden one
Yeah,
year.
I rocked the patina for a while, and then me and Joe started like shaving stuff, and then we're like,
You
all
do a
right.
mini truck to it, stuff.
Doing mini truck stuff too. Hell yeah.
Mini truck stuff, dude. We're staying up late cutting stuff that we're like, I don't know if this is a good idea, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of hot rod flats was kind of like getting popular, and so we're like, we'll just talk to the painter and mix up some primer, put some metallic in it, kind of do our own, and then we went to Ardenoise a few times like that.
Yeah.
You know, because
You and Joe just used to rock out to Ardenoise by yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Arizona has a cool vibe, so
Arizona's always
I've
had a
always
cool
been
vibe.
like, we're going to Arizona.
Yeah.
I like driving the vehicles, you know, so it was like, let's do it. And I left the top the green color, and then I did the bottom like the hot rod flat. So it was like tried to do a little two-tone thing, but that's kind of how it started. And then
Then it caught fire.
Yeah. Oh, is that? Oh, it caught fire.
caught fire.
Oh.
So then full coverage on the Toyota, right? It's like, all right, if you're gonna get insurance, dude, just get good insurance.
Right. Yeah.
So I got Haggerty this time. Now I'm like kind of trying to be a responsible parent and, you know, car owner. I'm like, I'm getting Haggerty. And Father's Day, I went out with my daughter to get like some steaks to go grill or something. And we're leaving, and I'm smelling like electrical.
Oh no.
Like, and then all of a sudden I see like the paint is like bubbling on the hood and smoke's coming out, and I'm like, I'm on fire, dude. Like
shit.
so
That's gonna be extra scary with your kid too.
She's in a car seat in the back.
Oh,
you know? So
shit.
we're out cruising, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's Father's Day, dude. We're gonna go for a cruise, and then like, yeah, it caught fire. So I just
It was the paper air filter, right? It backfired.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. So paper air filter caught
Uh-huh.
fire underneath, and yeah,
Does
something
that-
got hot under there.
Uh-huh.
Maybe some kind of wire or backfire. Like never really know, but it was started from the motor area, and then shoot, everything was. We were all safe. Everything was fine, you know. But they came and had to like douse the whole front end. So like from the steering wheel cab back, like everything was fine, but the front was just trashed, you know.
Charred.
So they're like, oh well, they didn't total it out. They're like, oh well, we want to fix it. You can take it to a
Really?
shop. I'm like, all right. So I took it to a shop, and they get like out in the desert in Palm Springs, and they were like, I was sold. The guy was like showing me all kinds of stuff he can do, and they'll fix it, and we do it all the time. So I'm like, all right. And then after a while, he was like, man, he's like, you really want to repaint it like this? And I was like, not really, you know. And he's like, man, I could repaint it. It's almost the same price. And I was like, all right, like how much what am I looking at? So then one thing led to another, and he's like, if you come down on your days off and like sand the door jambs and stuff, I'll do the jams and everything too. And I'm like, heck yeah, like all right.
So this guy basically like.
Yeah, he sold me
Yeah.
a bad idea, dude.
Right. That's because
Right?
that was my question: is how
Yeah.
did it roll into what it was? And
So
that's
then it
what
was like, so me and my wife, you know, we were together since high school, and on our 21st birthday, around that time, when we were like 19, 20, me and my buddy Joe started like a fake business, right? Behind his dad's RV shop. We were like, hey, we're gonna do like lifts and custom fab work, you know? So like I created a business, got a business license and stuff like that. So on my wife's 21st birthday, I was like, she wanted to go to Vegas. So friends and family were going to Vegas. I'm like, her birthday's November 1st. So I'm like, man, we should go to SEMA, right? And her dad's like, dude, how could we get in? And I'm like, I got a business. So, it was like, so we were going to SEMA every year since then. And then after like 9/11, like they tightened up. but like I was grandfathered in, so it kind of still kept going. So we always went to SEMA, and it was like, so now once the car was getting redone, I had this thought of like, man, I would always wanted to like try to get to SEMA, right? Mm-hmm. That was like the top, you know? So, and then I didn't really think it could be possible until I saw the paint job. So once the guy laid down the paint, like I was like, man.
I think you sent me photos at that time. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, even Brian like was telling me like, what? Like everyone's shocked. Like, you know, like there wasn't really too much wrong with the motor. We took it out. I sent it out to rebuild. I paid for all that. We did it myself, you know.
Then didn't you do something with the grill? Like there was something crazy you did with the grill.
So painted the motor, got it all back in. And once I saw the paint job, I was like, man, this old chrome that I thought I was going to put on isn't really going to work. Like,
right, because it's got this beautiful paint job on it.
The paint job is immaculate. Like, so sent the bumpers out for chrome. And now it's like, well, now I'm doing all this. I might as well try to get to SEMA. So back then it was like I used some of my networking skills and talking to people, and just my OCD kicked in. I was just on the phone, not during work hours, I promise. You know, just reaching out to everyone I can. Like they're like, and there used to be like ads that said, oh, you know what? We're looking for a vehicle for SEMA, right? To be in our booth, or anyone who needs parts. Like we got this new part coming out. So I'm like, I really want to get in SEMA, you know? What do I have to do? And so there was a rim company, and
yeah, I remember that. It was
the rim company was like, I shot them some things, and they're like, yeah, we'll put you in our booth. And I'm like, what? Like inside? Like
yeah, you were inside
at a rim booth. I'm like,
it was, what was the rim company?
It was like Greed
Wheels.
So I'm like, all right. So then I looked up Greed, and I'm like,
yeah, and the wheel, yeah. That's what I was gonna say, because the wheels were like, oh.
Yeah. So I'm like, do I really want to do this? You know? Yeah, I want to do it. I'm going to SEMA, you know? Yeah. So I'm like, and then they're like, so we're thinking like 24s, and I'm like, I don't even think 24s were like very popular at that time. So I'm like, it's already on 22s. I'm like, 24s? All right, like it's gonna have to be a small tire. So they're like, all right, whatever you want, just let us know. Like I'm looking through, and I'm trying to pick, and they all weren't anything. So I kind of picked something, and like seriously, a couple days later, they're at my house with tires, like shipped UPS, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. Like, all right, you know. And they're like, you can keep them, and I'm like, what? Like, so now I'm like, all right, crunch time, SEMA crunch. Like, I really need to get this done, and got the chrome done. The grill's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the 61 grill, but it's just
I had a 61.
It's over 100 pieces.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's like a bunch of.
It's kind of like an anodized aluminum, maybe. But one of the lowrider guys I talked to was like, dude, you should get that chrome. I'm like, I can't get it chromed. I was just gonna polish it. He's like, no, you should get it chromed. I got a buddy, they'll chrome it. And I'm like, really? All right. So like I took the grill off and disassembled everything in all the clips, sent it out to like Santa Ana, got it chromed, and I was like, wow. Like that was kind of like the jewelry piece.
Yeah, the last piece of it.
So it started coming together, but
who did the interior?
There was a place in the desert. It was called like Gabe's Custom Interior.
And then you didn't do the trunk.
No.
The trunk wasn't done for SEMA.
It might have been done, but it was done terribly.
You didn't like it.
It was a rush.
Because I remember we went to Joel's after SEMA, and you wanted Joel to redo it.
Yeah. So I went to this place out in the desert, and it was like same thing. It was crunch time. I was just gonna tint the windows, but I always wanted them clear. Tint was just going to be to hide the inside, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't.
There's so many cars at SEMA, all with blacked out windows like that.
So I'm like, I got to get interior. So like, I go, and the guy's like, looks at it, and they said they could do it. I kind of wanted like, I was going for more like a hot rod style. He got it done, but that was like, I think at the time it was like $8,500. That I really.
And that now in retrospect for an entire Cadillac interior.
You're looking at $20,000-$30,000.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it at the time, but I was like,
I
was committed.
Yeah.
You know? And so lo and behold, I went to SEMA. It was like what was that? 2010.
10.
Oh,
So
really?
2010. We had an appointment to load it in on Sunday, and I think we left up there Saturday night.
Yeah, because we stayed at, it was me, you, and your father-in-law.
Yeah.
And we stayed at one of the hotels off.
Yeah, like off the strip. Like
Yeah, and
outside.
he had points, I remember.
Yeah.
I slept on the couch.
Oh, nice.
And then remember we put the big logo on the trailer out in the
Yeah.
parking lot? The Forbidden logo on the enclosed. The
So-
same enclosed.
So we used
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say because the hole that exists in the
So,
enclosed right
this is how
now
it
is
happened.
from his car.
we
Yeah.
didn't know until we pulled.
I'm like, a triple axle trailer? Yeah, that's going to be perfect.
Right.
Right. Enclosed, Cadillac will be fine.
Yeah.
Like, so we put it in there and like rolled it in, and we're like, all right, off to SEMA we go. And then
We
Brian
pulled to the back of SEMA where you unload cars, like in the docks or whatever.
Yeah. We unload the Cadillac. We're super stoked.
No, we opened the trailer and we're like, why is it
It's all
lowered?
sitting like
Yeah,
this.
Yeah.
The only thing that saved it was the braces, the frame of the trailer.
Oh, really? Because it would
Because it had 24s on it.
Yeah.
So the ugly 24s
Yeah.
We're on
save the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Greed, if
Yeah.
you're watching.
I don't think greed exists anymore.
I don't know. They might have merged with somebody.
I'm still
Wheel Pros
I'm still
bought 'em.
Facebook friends with that
With the
dude
guy.
Todd or whatever.
I
that
think
was.
that guy's still doing wheels somewhere.
Probably.
But it was like they were donk wheels. But like,
Look at your Instagram while you're
but I got into SEMA. You know, like it was kind of accomplishing like a goal that I had always wanted and thought was cool.
And you got to drive it into SEMA.
Drive it in
That was
behind-
my first time doing
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, and you were with me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like driving down the street, going through behind the scenes, like
Yeah.
So your
Fitting us
your
in.
profile picture on Instagram is on those
that's
wheels.
That's on those wheels at the rim booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also when I first started Grindr
He
TV.
first started videoing too.
That's 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I made a SEMA video
Yeah.
and went back to the hotel and edited it and uploaded
That
it.
night, because you were like, oh, we gotta get the views.
It was when I was like, yeah, let's go. yeah.
Hungry.
And then I don't think that SEMA video is still up on the channel.
Oh, we got to talk about this car. I totally forgot about that
Look
car.
at every I had my little OG manual gimbal.
Okay.
No, I know. So,
the one with the weights.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all my shots, I didn't know how to use it properly, just like I don't know how to use my new
Yeah.
electronic one properly. But I would be, it would the sky. Or this.
Yeah.
Does he still-
Every single video
Every
for
single-
however long that SEMA video was, it was like,
this.
look at this car. Look at this car. It was like either carpet or ceiling was like, but it worked. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was still at the time. People were like, the videos were cool. It got them excited.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that whole SEMA week, that was like, I made a little video of your car there. Like, that Greed company loved it. Like,
Yeah. So it was like, once we got it there and it actually opened up, the day it opened, like the feedback was amazing. The rim company's like, I can't believe you built this. Like, what are you gonna build next? I'm like, I haven't even had time to enjoy this.
Yeah.
People were like, "How much is it for sale?" And I'm like,
what was that
I
one dude
should've
that
sold
came
it.
You
up?
should have sold it right
That-
there.
What was
you
that
know,
dude?
if I'd have known, right?
What was that dude? That dude that came up looked like Snoop Dogg or something.
Oh, that was
What was his name?
pretty Tony.
Yeah.
Pretty. Is that like a
Yeah.
rapper or something?
No,
know
that's
what
a
he was.
pimp from Oakland.
Oh, really?
A real pimp.
Real
Yeah.
pimp was checking out your car?
He's probably on my Instagram
Let me see.
with his mink coat.
Yeah.
Brian's like taking pictures of him because he was like, he had somebody with him. And he's like, oh, let me get a picture of this real quick. hey, get me over here. Hey. And I was like,
He's all just using you to.
yeah.
to-
And I talked to him like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, oh, this shit yours? This yours? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh my God.
I see you with the exhibit.
Oh, that was a long time ago. But
I know.
keep going. There's got to be, there's some, it'll have the car and pretty Tony's like,
Oh, right. Oh, right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're gonna have to add all these photos.
Mink coat. dude.
While I'm driving back home tomorrow, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to add all
Like,
these photos.
so I was like, man,
and yeah, there you are talking to him.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was like, damn, I met a real pimp. Hey, he gave me his business card. Like, it literally
Like,
said, like, pretty
pimp.
Tony.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Oakland.
There's the girl. Yeah.
That's my daughter. So we drove it up to, like,
Well, after SEMA,
You drove it a bunch. Oh,
Yeah,
and this
we-
is this your Toyota right
yeah,
here?
that's my Toyota.
Oh wow, I've never seen these photos before.
Yeah.
so
That's cool.
after SEMA, we got to drive out. That was before they did the fancy cruise. We just drove it out on
Yeah.
the main boulevard
Yep.
There was that picture of me and you. I think Brian Frost took it.
Yeah,
From
SoCal
SoCal
Customs,
Customs.
yeah.
And it's,
those
I'm in the
rims.
passenger seat, and you're in, and just like
We're doing that Carolina squat. I still didn't know, like, can I go lower? Like,
yeah.
24s will rip a
But
fender off.
then you remember what happened after SEMA? I picked it up on the open trailer, and we took it to the Grand National Roadster Show.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I'm gonna drive it everywhere, right? But a couple months later, it was like, I had already put in my enrollment for like Grand National Roadster Show. That was another show. I'm like, man, I want to go to this. And Brian's like, you're gonna go to it? Like, and it was raining.
Well,
It's the same thing. It was raining, and I was like, oh, let's.
You took the
know?
greed wheels off.
Yeah. So are these wheels? These were the wheels that were on.
Those were those were just some 22-inch like.
Yeah, but those are so sick looking.
Which ones do we see?
They're just a Boss like 302.
No, that's clean
maybe.
though.
No, those are not good.
Yeah.
Those are terrible for that car.
I like them.
Hey, you would like them. 'Cause I think that your Forerunner used to have those same wheels.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
very similar.
We were
Yeah,
Boss teammates.
I think you're right.
Yes,
I
if
If
think
anyone
you're-
ever says,
yeah,
if anyone ever
100%.
says, what's wrong with Boss wheels?
Yeah.
A lot.
Or if anyone ever said,
I have
those
Boss
are
wheels on the
cool,
Forerunner
they
right
had
now.
They had them.
Yeah.
You know?
I have, but my Boss wheels I have on the Forerunner right now are pretty cool.
Yeah, they are.
those
That's
are
because you
better.
got them from someone that like
Very
cool wheels.
That new one, yeah.
Yeah. So we trailered it to Grand National Roadster Show with the hole. We just put a piece of plywood over the hole.
It's still in the
The plywood
trailer.
is still
and that
there.
plywood's still there. So
I'm
it's almost-
fixing that trailer finally next week for my little Tacoma.
That's funny.
So Grand National Roadster Show was a cool experience too. Like we setting up there.
The carpet, the vacuum.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
you pick up all the stuff for your little display, and I forget what class they put me in, but
He went second. Was he
First.
You took first? Oh wow.
yeah.
Don't
so
mind me
that was-
yawning, sorry.
That was pretty cool. So then after that point, it was like, all right, I'm gonna drive it. So we went up to like Visalia and like
Oh yeah, man. I remember.
Mooney-
Mooney
Danger
Grove
Zone.
Park and like
Remember we went to the West Coast Customs thing?
yeah.
We were on TV.
Oh,
Me,
that's cool.
Robbie Robbie was there. Were you sitting with us? We were in the corner with Ryan from West Coast Customs, and Brett was there. You brought your Cadillac to that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It was actually, wasn't it the open of Wahoo Tacos or what's Travis?
It was
Oh, yeah.
Chronic Tacos.
was
Wee
it
Man's?
Chronic
It was like
Tacos?
Chronic Tacos. I
Well,
think?
Wee Man had Chronic Tacos, and Travis Barker had Wahoo Tacos.
Wahoo Fish Tacos.
That's Travis
Yeah.
Barker.
I think
can't
it was
remember-
the
I can't
chronic. It was
remember.
the
Yeah.
chronic one, but they
Yeah,
were
but it was
filming
like
some
a
West
big
Coast
thing.
Custom thing, and he
Yeah.
rolled up. They gave him a nice spot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, and then I remember you drove it out to when it was all done. Drove it out to Our Noise.
Harder Noise again.
Yeah.
Started collecting a few pieces of hardware. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then by this point, I had 2 kids growing up, and man, I had it for a while, and I wasn't really able to do too much more to it. It needed some cool wheels at the time.
It did.
You
It
know?
just didn't. It never had the right wheels on it.
never
Yo,
had
so
the
you
right
never
wheels.
you never settled on a set you really liked.
All of a sudden, like I was broke. Dude. I was like, man, I can't. I spent money I didn't have to get it going anyway, so it was like it was
When
kind
you
of
go
on
to
hold.
that level, and this I always use you.
This
as
is
an
this is
example.
this is before it
Yeah,
burnt down.
that was the 2-tone. Yeah.
I always use you as an example because you went through this process. It's like when you get to a certain level, it's a lot of money, and it becomes even more money and more. Like the right wheels for that car were going to have to be like.
Yeah. Like we talked to Bill at Colorado Customs.
Yep.
We were talking to a few different people, and it was like I could have got a deal-ish, but it was still really expensive, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And you still never really did the trunk. You still never.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the trunk. Remember Joel? Joel was gonna be like, it's
Yeah.
this, and you're just like, I'm done. I'm tapped out.
I'm kind of done for a little bit, you know. And I had so much wrapped into it, and I don't know if I was bored with it, but like after a while, you can't keep taking it to shows the same, you know. So it was like.
Frank's like, yeah, I know.
At the time, a house came up for sale that me and my wife wanted.
The house you're in now.
Yeah, and it was like kids were gonna be starting school, wanted to get to a different area.
That's mine,
And,
sorry.
Took a look, and like my lender was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get you financed." I'm like, "What? Like, credit's good, you know?" And he's like, "You already have a house, you and your wife." Like, just the way it worked out, it was like, I was like, "Man, what if I had some cash?" You know? And he's like, "Oh, if you got a good amount of cash, like I'll get you financed." So I was like, "All right, I need to sell this car, you know, and I need cash fast." So I ended up losing on the car.
Didn't you sell it on eBay?
I did. I listed it like on a few things first, and like no real like attention. Like same thing at that. Once you get to that level, like people takes the right buyer. So I was like, eBay was kind of hot at the time, so I'm like, I'm gonna try it. Guy hit me up on eBay, wanted to buy it, and from Idaho, and
Is that where it still lives?
still there, still
Oh,
with
really?
the same guy.
Really?
Keep in good contact with him.
Oh,
We're
that's
still
cool.
friends. Yeah. I gave him like, and then after he bought it, it's like, it's in my garage. I got kids. Like I don't want anything. This thing has to go, right? And he's like, I'll arrange shipping. Couple weeks go by, and I'm like,
You're like, I need this out of here.
I want this gone, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up keeping it. Like I've already got the money and the car, you know. But so he's like, man, if I could just get it up here, I don't know the shipper, and I'm like, I might know someone who doesn't really work right now.
That was you.
And that was Brian, dude. So bro, I'm like, hey, this guy's gonna give you like $1,500. Can you drive to Idaho? And he's $1,500. I'll leave today. And I'm like,
Me and Jamie loaded it in the trailer.
took the enclosed again, same piece of
I have a video of it.
Yeah.
Like a sad video of it
the
leaving.
final, like
Oh,
my
really?
son's like this tall. He's like,
Yeah.
he walks out there.
It's still it's on
Aw.
YouTube right now.
Oh, it is?
It's on a different weird channel that I have that I. It's like
Oh, yeah, I know which one you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about. Yeah.
So they loaded it up, man. And I was like,
I used his truck, your diesel,
yeah.
and I did a turnaround trip to Idaho.
Wow. You just bombed out there, came back.
Bombed up, bombed back.
Dropped it off with the guy.
Okay.
It was at a
back.
Chevy dealer.
Yeah. The
Was
guy
he happy?
He was a manager of a Chevy like GM dealership. And would
Was he a
drive it to
pimp?
work.
No.
No. But he loves it. He still has it. He has a bunch of other cars. We still communicate. Like, I don't know.
Do you ever feel tempted?
If you're listening, Mario, you're gonna will it to me. I know. So
He's not listening.
you never know.
You
never know.
You never hear
Never
listening.
know. No. Do I ever want to get it back?
Well, not necessarily want to get it back, but do you ever think, just daydream, like, what if I got
What
it
if
back?
I still had it?
Yeah.
You know, because there was times like I'm like, man, it was so nice that I don't know if I'll ever get something that nice. Like you question like just the way life happens. I tell myself like I don't know that I'll ever be able to have anything that nice again.
I have
You know?
a theory about this. I think what you have now, I think will eventually, if you stay on track and you pace yourself, because you get so.
Oh, his current build.
Your current build. We'll get into it, but I think that will be that nice. But only if you can get into the mental preparedness of not right now.
Of course. Well, that's kind of where I'm at now. Is like I've learned a lot over the last couple of years of just patience and the way life is, and enjoy the moment. You know.
Yeah. It's almost this build is almost therapeutic to you in that way.
Right. So I had another Cadillac after that one.
I know. I was going to bring
Yeah,
that up. So
yeah.
you got rid of that one, and then are you talking
So I
about
got
the
that.
60?
I sold that one to get the house. We did end up getting the house. I sold it, got the cash, got the house. Everything was great. I got way more equity in the house, so it was kind of like, all right, I win-win, right? But then everyone's like, man, you really lost. Like, you don't have that car no more. You don't have the car no more. Oh no! And it was like, took me a while to kind of like overcome. Like, damn, I lost. You know. And so
When you actually won.
yeah, when I actually
won.
but you feel like you lost.
Yeah.
He won because
right?
he got the house he wanted.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
He wanted the grand scheme of things.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
You know, I wanted to kind of set my family up for something.
Yeah,
else.
because like that is true. Because although you get a lot of shit for selling a 4-door car for less
But
than.
he gained how many thousands in equity?
That's right. Yeah.
Over
that makes a
True.
ton of sense. Yeah.
It makes sense, but it still was like, ooh, right?
No, right, yeah.
So then it was like, it's something about like the mental feeling of like losing the money resonated with me that if I ever can make some money on it, it's gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, if I can get $2,000 more than what I paid, like it's gone.
You were like chipping away at the stuff you lost on the Cadillac.
Yeah. So then I was like, you know, moved on to something else. And the wife was like, oh, you know what? There'll be something else parked in this big garage over here sometime. And I'm like, there's been a ton of stuff. But like, so then I was like, another Cadillac, you know?
That was the 60, right?
This time I wanted a 60.
Was it the white one?
Yeah.
You
With a
did you
brown
take
top.
that to Summer
That was a
Madness?
2-door too.
It was, yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. That's
Yeah.
because I just,
I'm like,
I totally
4
forgot you
doors?
had
No
that car.
more.
Yeah, I totally forgot you had that car.
Yeah.
But I remember being in a Summer Madness.
Summer Madness.
But what was funny was, and maybe this is me recollecting it wrong, but even then, I think you were talking about how it wasn't the same. Like, even though, it was a 2-door, 60, cool
It
bag.
didn't get the attention.
But you were, I remember specifically you were wiping it down and we were talking and you're like, yeah, it's just not the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a custom guy. So like that one was all stock, just bagged on white walls, and it was like,
it was a bitchin' car.
cool.
It was
looking back,
really
looking
sick.
back, I'm like, damn, it's super. Another one like super cool, but I like things that nobody else has. You know,
You're very eccentric in
That's
your
why you got a
taste.
C10. No one's gotten to that.
I know. No one knows what I have right now. Thank
Okay,
you.
sorry, we haven't got there yet.
We're not there. And that's,
What? Not.
I'm taking the jabs when I can.
when we get into the nuts and bolts of this, we will do that.
Yeah.
No, but so I had that, and it just wasn't the same. Like,
Yeah.
You know, it was cool, but then same thing. I was like, kind of into it for a decent amount, and then I got offered a little more, so I was like,
It's gone.
Yeah, let's find something else.
Yeah.
You know, I love the feeling of having it for a while and enjoying it, and then if it does become cool or too many people have it, then I kind of don't want it. Which
Again,
I know,
very ironic.
very ironic right now.
Yeah.
he would
So I'm selling. You know what? On the way home, I'll be like, I'm selling it.
I know it's all
If
gone.
you could go back through our text messages between me and Brent, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I would know when he would
I
sell
thought you
something.
said you weren't going to be a dick anymore.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's hard for him.
No,
It is.
It through text, he was like, I'm like,
No, because I would know when I would know when he sold something because he wouldn't talk to me.
or bought something.
Oh.
No, when he bought something, you'd be excited.
I'll reach out and he's like, what'd you buy? I'm
Yeah.
like, nothing.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about because don't hear from Brent for months,
Yeah.
maybe a year, maybe more.
Hey, I'm
And
trolling the group chat.
and then
I'm trolling
back in the group chat, he's like, "What up?" No, or
Not what up.
Where's the cruise nights at?
Yeah. I won't ever say what's up. I'll wait for someone to say something, then I'm like, boom, instant response.
Yeah.
You know, auto
That's sick.
response is like, yeah,
What'd
whatever.
you buy, Brent?
What are you into now?
So, so then that, and then shoot, I don't know what was after that. Maybe
Was it the K5? I think it was the K5. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going with you to that. You went to Bio to like talk to him about doing.
Yeah, we went and talked to Max.
Yep.
Yeah.
To keep the back seat because you had to do a custom thing because you wanted to keep the back, and then I remember that same thing. I remember all of a sudden Brent he just stopped texting. I was like, oh, he sold that thing.
Yep. That thing was cool.
Well, so that one same thing. Like, I was on the hunt, and like you guys talk about like all the C10 guys, you talk to them all the time. I was like trolling the 67 to 72 like enthusiast web page.
So
you know?
Brent was an OG forum guy.
Yeah.
Brent told me about Dino's.
Yeah.
Really?
Brent didn't get me into that thing, but
He was aware.
I was living.
So when
I was still
Ronnie,
living,
when Ronnie and those
Talks
dudes
about
were like the 67, 72
I knew
thing.
about it, but I didn't really tell anyone.
yeah.
You know, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't like
He was
a lot of
gatekeeping his
I don't like a
C10.
lot of attention, you know, kind of. Right? Like, even this is kind of weird, I feel like. I'm not really worthy, you know?
Which again, it's interesting that you say that, but then you build these cars that are very like the Cadillac. If you looked at it's an eccentric car. It's a bright color, bright interior, big chrome wheels, like very eccentric.
Yeah.
But that's not your personality. You're very low key. Until until you start maybe drinking a little bit.
I guess I'm outgoing, but I'm shy
You are.
at first.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. Like, yeah, like I do. My personality is to be like loud and different. Like that's why we're mini truckers. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then like at the same time in a group of people, like I'll kind of just chill.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Brian doesn't introduce you to anyone, so I'm always like, "Hey, what's up,
I
man?
know.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's your name?"
That's because I
All
don't know
good.
anyone's name.
Yeah.
That's true.
But so I was trolling those Chevy forums, like the 67, 72, and there used to be I was like, I want a Blazer, right?
You have a thing with convertibles
Always had a thing for a convertible.
and sleeveless shirts.
You know, back in the day, like a sleeveless shirt. Come on, now, you know. But I came to Arizona and I bought a K5, a red one, and it.
I saw that picture too. I didn't. At that red one. I had actually never seen before.
Yeah, so that was a quick one because
okay.
I bought that and I was like, it had some rust that had been repaired on it, and it was a conversion from a 4-wheel drive to a 2-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
Not a huge deal, but I was like, had no back seat, had a 454. And it just had a few little things that I wasn't fond of, but I was like, oh. And then I got it home, And I started doing more research on like the Blazers and stuff. And I was just like, damn, I want a different one, you know? Like this one's going to take me too long. It's not really what I want. And so I sold that one back in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking on the forums. They had a thread for just like, it was called like 60, like Blazers Find Thread. Mm-hmm. So people, when they found one, they would post it out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like
in people's backyards and stuff,
or like if someone on the East Coast saw one on Craigslist out there, they would post the ad. Mm-hmm. If someone was driving by and saw one, they would post it. Mm-hmm. And like, so everyone was just like, that was how the forum was working, is like posting. Mm-hmm. And I was like, my OCD kick. I guess I have OCD, mm-hmm. But like I would look like nonstop, you know, mm-hmm. every day, a couple times a day. And like one came up and it was in Craigslist in like Medford, Oregon. And I was like, only had like 2 pictures. And so I called the guy. It took, you know, no texting, right? It's like, let me call him. And I got a hold of an old gentleman that was like, seemed like he had a stroke, was talking a little slow. Mm. And he's like, I'll hold it for you, you know, if you're serious. But a lot of people are after. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'll come up tomorrow after work. Like, and he's like, if you really want to get up here, and I'm like, I'm coming, right? So I got my diesel truck. I grabbed the trailer. It might have been the club trailer, the club flatbed. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, after work, drove up to Oregon, got there at like 7 a.m. Called the guy, went to his house. He opens up the doors to a wood barn with a dirt floor and pulls out this Blazer. And I'm like,
yeah,
instant, right? I'm like,
you're like, oh yeah.
I won.
I'm buying it, you know. It had some like Western wheel company like turbines on it, 15s.
Oh, right on.
Shaved handles with like this weird roll bar in the back.
Oh, so it was already kind of like a little
windshield.
Custom.
Yeah, it was like custom to like 70s.
Oh, okay.
So kind of built in the 70s and maybe late 70s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll take it. So bought it, loaded it up. I'm stoked. Joe went with me, right? So it's like
Joe's
my road.
Yeah, it sounds like Joe's
like
sidekick.
No matter what, dude, I'm like, hey, we're going here, and he's like, all right, I'm down.
Yeah,
you know,
Joe, you got to get back.
Yeah,
you got to get back to California so we could all do this some more.
Got to get some more. What do you call it? What do you call them? Your adventures?
Side quests. Yeah, more side quests. Yeah.
You know?
And Brent needs help fixing some stuff.
I need a road dog or a good influence,
or someone not to talk to shit,
or someone who's positive with me,
uplifting, not putting down.
But so I got that one home, and it was like, it had shaved door handles, had a little spot of primer on it, and after looking at it, someone just put fiberglass over it. So I was like able to bang with a screwdriver. I popped the fiberglass right off.
Oh, put the door handles back.
Put the door handles back on. Did a few little things. Did the interior. And I was into that for such a good price, and it got so much attention.
It was clean.
You were going to the Brothers show?
Yeah. So I went to the Brothers show. Like, I was following those guys like early on, and the Brothers show was like not long after I had gotten that, and it still had the turbines, had that guy's style. There's a picture floating around, like all the Blazers lined up that year, and
there's yours.
There's mine, like super out of place because it's like looks all lifted. It's just stock height, you know. Mm-hmm. And it was like those ones were all nice, you know. And
I remember you telling me it was either on. You're like, I've talked to this guy. He's a real popular in that scene.
Oh yeah, for Dino.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, like same thing. It was all posted maybe on that forum, mm-hmm. and I started. It might have even been when we went to Art of Noise, even with the Cadillac. So I ran into Dino, was at Art of Noise one year with like one of the Suburbans, like 60s. And I was like, damn, that's kind of cool, you know. Talked with him for a little bit. And then I saw maybe in like a different style magazine, I saw a picture of some of his rides. And they mentioned like a car show that he had. And then it slowly on the forums was like, this thing's pretty big, right? Mm-hmm. And so I told Brian, like, were you living in California still?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brian's in California, and I get this Blazer. And I'm, like, fixing it up. And I'm like, dude, I want to go to this show in Arizona. And he's like, for what? I'm like, dude, it's called, like, Dino's Get Down. And he's like, sounds dumb. I'm like, you know? He's like, and this was, I'm like, dude, it's at, I was like, he's like,
That's
what do you
funny.
mean? I'm like, well, it's like at this appliance place, but it's like his business, but there's tons of cars. Like, it's only Chevy trucks. He's like, that's dumb. And I'm like,
dude.
what a dick, right? I'm like, damn.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yeah, noticing a pattern.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing positive ever. But so I sold it because of him. No, I'm just kidding.
I drank a lot back then.
So and till this day, I still haven't made it to a Dino's.
Really? Oh, so you never made it?
I never made it.
Oh,
And then he looks at me, the guy that says that's dumb.
right. And now
I make the Dino's video.
Yeah, now we go up to
He's
a
like,
show
you're
and he's like,
ingrained.
hey, what up, Dino? You know? I'm like,
did you see me today when Dino was
he's like, hey, C10 over here. Oh, I'm like,
Brent's all like, I was here first.
he came back and I was like, that was dumb.
That was dumb.
But so I still never went. But we went to that. We went to Relaxed Atmosphere when it was down in Torrance at like the Alpine Building. I drove the Blazer.
Yeah, that was when I was hanging out with you guys too.
So I had that for a while, and then this one was kind of like almost where I got hooked because someone told me a long time ago, like, hey, if you can ever double up on a car, and this was like maybe before cars like really got super
that was
hot.
right before the K or the C10 K5 the K series
The craze.
blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, literally like months before.
Blazers were always hot, and like, you know, like Renee. I met those guys at a Brothers car show. They were like, so they slapped a C10 sticker on there, like, oh, hey, dude, this is
you had a C10 club sticker on there?
They're like, oh, you got to. Like, it's a Blazer, you're getting a sticker, homie. Boom.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
Renee's, the OG.
Yeah, Renee, and then the other guy who does the work with the blue Blazer. I forget his name. Kevin from Kev's Classics. So, like, they were there, and it was like, man, I get to park with these guys. Like, I brought my kids with me. You know, like, same thing, riding in the car seat. I was like, this is dope. So, like, it was cool. But someone told me a long time ago, like, if you could ever sell a car and double up, like, because you're going to put so much money into it. If you can double up what you're into it, like,
Then
you should
that's
do
the
it,
move,
right?
yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right. Well, like, I had fun with this Blazer, and like, they didn't make a lot of two-wheel. Then this was an original two-wheel drive. So that's where like the four-wheel drive conversion one I had, and now I got an original two-wheel. I was real skeptical on like, damn, I'm a mini truck. I want to bag it.
I remember you like getting parts and stuff.
And me and Brian were kind of going back and forth because he was like, dude, just cut it up, you know, like, it's fine. And then Joe's like, same thing. He's like, Joe's always told me, he's like, dude, that was dumb. Like, you should have just bought a frame or a four-wheel drive one and bagged it and made it low. Like, who cares? And I'm like, yeah, but this is original too. He's like, yeah, that shit ain't gonna matter. I'm like, but look how nice it is. He's like, yeah, they're gonna fuck it up. And I'm like, so like, I don't know. It was, you know, I always want like a good start. Maybe that's my problem. But I was into this one. I more than doubled up on it. And someone offered me money for it, and I was like, ready to move on to the next, I guess. And that was the one that kind of
got away.
It was cool.
Looking back,
the look of that one has such like a California like
beach.
Because like California has that weird vibe too, where it's like kind of westerny, but like kind of like beachy, and that fit that whole vibe.
Yeah.
It was like kind of off-roady, kind of cowboyish, but kind of like slick California, you know.
Yeah, it was so original. Zero rust. I know what that means now, and like, you know, like it was no replacement.
Again, we're gonna get there.
It was just everything on it had all the parts. So I was like, this is like, I don't know. I wish I kind of didn't get rid of it. And then same thing. There's another pattern. I kept in touch with this guy too.
I remember.
Like, so then I was like, I kind of want to buy it back, you know. And then, so he was willing to, but he added like $5-6 grand on top.
You're like,
I'm
no,
man. Like, come on, I know what you bought it for. He's like, yeah, but you know, and I'm like,
but to be fair, he's completely right.
Oh,
what's that Blazer worth now? 60.
I mean, he sold it for like 35 to a guy out in LA, so it's still in California. I don't know. It was original California car too that went to Oregon. So, so it had always been a California Blazer. I don't know what it'd go for. Like, you'd have to ask those guys. I'm sure they could put a price on it, especially like because it isn't bagged and it's not cut.
Two-wheel drive.
Yeah. Like less than like 300 each year or something made, like something crazy. So it's like
cool color, that olive, green olive.
Yeah. So it's you'd have to ask those guys, but to me, it wasn't worth it because I didn't have that kind of money. So I'm like, I couldn't buy it back. But that was like probably a barn find that I won't find.
Yeah, they're probably
again,
getting slimmer now.
So.
Well, you got a barn find now.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We keep putting that off. We'll get there because
that was a field find.
That's what
Have
I was
you ever
just
had a
find.
field
find.
I own a field finds.
But
your
yours
field
is
well, yeah, but mine's are not
Yours
finds.
is a dirt, Yours isn't a field. That's a dirt lot.
And mine aren't finds. Mine are like real like not. It's not. You're not finding nice C10s up in my crap. You're finding old Mopars and
then
stuff.
I don't know. What did I go to after that?
Well, yeah. You from that you kind of went through this interesting period where like you had the full size.
Was raising kids, and you always,
I was trying to buy that full size off of you. Remember that?
Were you?
Yeah. Remember we were kind of going back and forth. It was
full size you got out here.
I came to Arizona once again.
Yeah. That one.
That was super clean.
It was super clean.
Like
Jeremy do that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Brent, but didn't Jeremy from Trade 5 build that?
I don't know who built that.
I think he did.
I think Brett did a lot of it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
From Perfect Poise?
Yeah, he did a lot of the work. He took it with him back when he moved, like
Oh, that's
back
when he
east.
went to Tennessee and stuff?
and then like he brought it back with him when he came back.
Oh, I see.
And then at our show, he had like a for sale sign. I was like,
right.
you know me,
Yeah.
I'm always looking, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet, like I want this, So my wife's like, how are you gonna buy this? I'm like, so I sold one car and bought 2 cars. It sounded like a good idea at the time, right? So bought that truck, had fun with that for a little bit, and then
What was the one either right after that or right before that? And I may be completely wrong here, but didn't you? Because you just recently had an S10 that you had for your son, but before that, didn't you have one more mini truck in between that? Between the K5 and the brown full size, I swear you had like a mini truck, and it was blue. I remember being at your house and we were standing in your garage looking at it.
maybe.
I swear, like it was like an S10 or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Right now.
But anyway,
But blue makes sense. Like
It was- yeah.
Blue's one of my colors.
yeah, I think so. I can't remember, and it's not on your Instagram either. So I don't know.
Yeah. It kind of seems like it's always something.
Yeah.
My wife's like, it's just another rotation.
Yeah, it's that spot she was talking about in your garage is
it's
just like this.
It's the ever.
Revolving door of cars.
revolving the garage door of vehicles. Right
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've been in other stuff too. You've been in like off road and side by sides and
Yeah, camping and like did some family stuff. So that goes to like taking a break and like trying to balance like club activities, shows, family, kids,
which is like really healthy. Like you spend this time instead of like thinking that you constantly have to do the club thing or the vehicle.
A lot of
thing.
times that ends up being that you get out of the club thing.
You get
completely.
burnt out.
So
Well, one thing about our club, like Brian always says, right? It's like things in life change. So people will like go do their thing and then come back, and that's cool. Like, if you can't make it, like we don't make excuses. We're just like, hey, I can't make it right now. Like,
I'll see you. It doesn't matter. Like, hey, I can't. I'll see you in 5 years. I'll be like, cool.
Yeah, no problem.
Everyone hits it at different times.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like certain times would be super busy, so I wouldn't be here. And then I'm like, I got a lot of time and like got some cool vehicles. So like, let's go do something. So take advantage when you can. It was kind of like,
yeah, no, it's cool. And you had fun with your family, raising your kids and stuff. And now we can get to the thing, the current one.
Yeah.
Huh?
So the medium olive on a old Chevy.
That's what got you.
That's a good color. Right?
It is.
And
It's
like,
sick.
and I
It's
love
sick.
that. That blazer got away, so I was like, man. Every time I see that color, I'm thinking maybe I could do something with it. And I came across a one owner, short bed, big window, 70 C10 that I was not gonna purchase, but was gonna purchase, and ended up purchasing it, and ended up being more than things I've done before.
Right. It was a little more involved.
Yeah.
I guess you'd say.
But nothing that I can't handle per se. But it was like something I don't like to handle. I like to kind of take, I don't want to say the easy way, but like I want to be able to move fast with things because I know myself. So it was like this one's teaching me like
Patience, kind of.
patience, right? And that it's okay, like this is common, or you could just buy everything at Pomona for it, right?
Right.
So it's like it's kind of cool and teaching me something new, something I haven't necessarily done before.
And what you're talking about is when you got it, you realized it was a lot more rusty.
A lot more rust. So it came from Georgia. It was a farm truck.
And you got excited to buy that because you were looking at another truck that you almost pulled the trigger on, and
something told me. God, I don't know if same thing. It was a lot of money, and I'm like, I don't know if I just want to spend all this right now. And then I had other influences, whether it's friends or neighbors or people who are like, dude, you can do that. Like, you've done this before. Like, you shouldn't worry about it. Just, start with something. And then Joe, same thing. He'd be like, I started playing all these things back in my mind, talking myself into anything or out of it, right? I'm like, So ended up getting it shipped and showed up at the door, and
surprise.
It's a roller coaster. Like, ooh,
yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if I want this.
Because you had bought it kind of sight unseen, through photos, but sight unseen, bought it, put it on a transport, and took it out to California.
And did something that Brent usually does not do. You didn't get a picture of under the hood.
Yeah.
You bought a truck.
We weren't supposed to say that.
Well, we're saying.
I'm just kidding. No. Yeah. So
you got to be a little vulnerable here.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna show my vulnerability. So I'm pretty thorough. Right?
Yeah.
So, I think me doing something I was already not used to by sight unseen, I was already questioning, like, is this a good idea? And I really wasn't gonna do it. But then it was so cheap that I could kind of afford to take a gamble.
It's weird how your brain does these things.
Yeah,
your brain was doing that today. Anyway,
it was.
We'll talk about that later.
And then the guy's like, "Oh, just send me PayPal," and I'm like, "PayPal?" I'm like, all right, like, that's cool, that's easy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is weird, but like, it looks all right. Rust, like anything, they're all rusty, right? There isn't a perfect one out there.
Well,
I thought.
There's a difference between California rusty and Georgia rusty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which goes to show you just exactly how spoiled we are out here dealing with cars,
Yeah.
I don't want to derail your story, but one time my family sold a Barracuda. We had the 65 Barracuda, and we had restored it, new paint, new interior, new motor, went through it, and we sold it to a guy in Louisiana. And and this was a long time ago, so I think at the time we sold it for like $12,000. And I took it out to Louisiana, I dropped it off to him, and he's looking at it, he's so super stoked. And we started chopping it up and talking, and he told me, he's all, for the price of this car I have in this other car, and it's still just a shell, just from buying the car, paying someone to fix the rust. And he's like, and I'm like, dang, dude, so you've already put, I didn't want to say wasted, but you've already put $12,000 into this one thing. It's not even done. He's like, yeah, that's why I just wanted to buy this thing, because it, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It happens. So
we get spoiled.
You hear it all the time. And I was just like, the guy sounded so trustworthy. And
well, did he have a southern accent?
Oh, yeah.
He got you.
Yeah, he got me.
They sound so friendly.
Dude, I know.
But it was like,
hey, it's going to be fine.
He was believable, And it was like, nothing against him. He's still a good guy. Like,
no, for sure.
He didn't lie about anything, but like
his version of Rusty.
Did he particularly not take pictures of certain things? Probably. Right?
Like the motor compartment.
But then he's like, when someone tells you, like, I guess it goes back to that old Craigslist ad where it's like, it ran when I parked it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
he ain't lying.
So he's like, oh, the guy parked it, and and I'm like, you forgot to mention people took parts off it. You know what I mean? Or someone tried to work on it to get it running. So I was like, so when I got it and there was things missing, it just, at first it was a letdown, but then it's like, in the big scheme of things, did I really want that motor anyway?
Right.
No. I'm going to do something else.
Right.
So it was like, so now it put me on this other quest and venture to to do something completely different outside my
comfort zone.
But so far it's working out.
That's great. Yeah. This whole weekend, you've been making moves, man.
Yeah,
making things
cool.
happen.
Yeah. So this is a recent thing. And we said what it was, right? A 70 C10.
70 C10, yeah.
Yeah.
Olive green.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big window.
Big window.
Big window truck. Short bed.
Short bed.
Again, when Brent did this, he was talking to me about the other one you were possibly going to buy.
Yeah.
And I shot Ronnie a text and Joe Molina a text. And I said, is this a good deal? And they both were like, yeah. And then like the next day you sent me all the photos of the rust. So you're like, cancel that. And then like 2 days later, you're like, I found one in Georgia. I'm getting it. It's on its way. It's on its way. And then nothing. Yeah. It went radio silence. And I went,
and you're, uh-oh.
Yeah.
He either already sold it.
Uh-huh. Or it was.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. But it's really cool to see this like different side of you when it comes to.
And I've been in contact with you since, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like, it gives me more inspiration now, I think, every little thing you do.
Yeah.
So, so many people have said like other people I know that aren't quite like me, or neighbors people who don't really know me, they're like, oh, just don't take it apart too much. Like, I did that, never got put back together. Right? And I'm like, so what? Like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
If Brian's truck
Yeah.
can get put back together, I know mine.
He's heard that a few times.
So I was like, I don't know, every little thing I do makes more improvement. My wife's like, maybe the more you do, like the rust will just eventually all fall off and it won't be there anymore. I'm like, because I'm sweeping up stuff in the garage, right? So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, it's exciting. It's a really cool project.
And then fast forward to now, go to Reunion, go to the C10 show, hang out with see all these C10s, and just like now, it's almost like you're doing now what you would have done with the Blazer if you would have went to Dino's.
Oh,
right. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you just like stop, you're like paused, and now you're going back. And now,
and also
without the guilt of like what I would have had on the Blazer because of maybe how much I spent or what I was doing to something that maybe wasn't worth anything. Or that was worth so much, right? To where now it's like the truck isn't worth anything that I have right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm only making it better. Like to me, it's like I can't hurt it.
And
so
everything you do, since you're doing it and you're enjoying it stuff, when you reach the part where it's running and driving and roadworthy, you're gonna have this thing. This is gonna be another battle that you're gonna have, right? You're gonna have. Remember that you said if you could double up.
Yeah.
When you finish this, you're gonna like quadruple up. From the original purchase price. Not really necessarily like you pay for the motor, you pay for the chassis stuff, whatever it is, right? But you're going to get to this point where it's going to be worth, maybe selling it is going to be worth more than what you have into it. So then you're going to have to go with like, are you going to battle that inner demon to not sell it?
I don't think so.
Because you did all the work?
I've learned over the last few years, kind of like also like, I don't think I can replace this one again. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, especially the path that you're taking to build it. And I got
into it for such a little price that to build one again for this price isn't going to be as easy.
Right.
And so at this point, I might as well just keep it. Right.
Yeah.
Or.
You're also going to enjoy this one because.
The reward of me doing like same thing, like more to it myself.
And you did the Cadillac and the Blazer. You had your kids. You're like, I put my kids in it. I put my kids in it. Your kids are. When you're finished with this one and it's on the road, your kids will be out of both. They'll be both in college by then.
Yeah.
But you're doing this not necessarily now. This is you.
Hopefully, I'm more excited than you are in your truck.
I'm excited for my truck
that I could show.
Oh,
I'm gonna show for sure. You're like, I'm gonna be like, you know what I mean, going crazy. Where you're like,
I mean, yeah. I had an interesting thought too about this pause that you took between the K5 and now building this truck. Even if you were starting to do the K5, you don't. The path that you're going down now is you have so much more available to you, because in that gap that you took between the Blazer and building this truck, think about it, because what the Blazer was like, what 6-7 years-ish ago, and that was barely when the C10 stuff started coming out. So there wasn't a bunch of chassis companies.
The Blazer was more than 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, that's right. It's probably like almost 10 years ago now. No, that's not true, because like I said, I joined the club in 2014.
No, it was 10 years. It was more than 10 years ago. It was 11 years ago, because I moved out here 10 years ago. I moved out here 11 years ago.
Don't ask me about
anyway.
Things,
I know.
Regardless,
Brent's like, it was
the point that I'm trying
it was last year.
The point that I'm trying to make is like that gap that you took. Now you have so much more. Like today, you just mobbed around.
Resources.
More resources. That's exactly more resources. Because like today, you mobbed around. You talked to this chassis company. You talked to these guys, and now that didn't exist before.
Yeah, the guy that came up with the seats. Like you could just buy the seats before you couldn't do that.
Right.
You couldn't buy. You could literally just have stuff shipped to you and build this truck in your garage by yourself, and it all bolts together.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't have that. I remember when you were talking about the K5, putting it on air ride. it was almost like not a foreign thing, but you really had to think about it. I remember you talking about like, well, maybe we'll just like stick some cups in it or something like that. But now
like
it's just like
people were like chopping the front cross member and sectioning it.
Yeah, because like there were Porterbuilt was around back then, and Stone and those guys were around back then, but still it was still like in the infancy of all these C10 parts.
I don't know. Did Porterbuilt have a K5 front end, or was it just C10?
Oh, I don't know. It might have just been C10.
Yeah,
they might have been coming. They might have been coming out with one. Because I went to same thing. Me and Joe one night. It was like we went to Hollywood, and went to like Hollywood Hot Rods where like Delmo and them right next door. They had like an open house.
Yeah,
and we seen like some chassis from Porterbuilt, and we were just like, it was not even full chassis. It was like probably just front and back half. And we were like damn, you know, like it was cool.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know. We drove the K5 out there.
That's cool.
So that was pretty cool.
That's super cool. What's wrong? What
My
are you
phone's
looking at?
die.
Oh, well, you're doing
it's fine,
okay.
because I can see it on there.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're good. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I don't know about like how much detail you want to go into, but I find it really fascinating. You're this car dude who's built all of these cars and done all of this stuff. So one would assume that maybe your trade or what you do is rooted in some sort of automotive or some sort of like, and what you did. So your career, not currently, but for a long time was like high end, like fashion accessories. Like you worked for Coach, or like explain to me like what that was.
And do you think that had anything to do with the way you built the Cadillac?
How so?
How so is like
eccentric?
Elaborate.
You wanted it to be nice. Like you wanted it to like the fit, not necessarily like fit and finish, but just like you wanted it.
You think maybe that's why I started with like certain ones that were in better shape? Maybe.
No, just like
I know what he's getting at, because your space
standards, my standards.
Well, no, the space that you worked in was high-end handbags, high-end fashion accessories. So you're used to this high craftsmanship type.
I had too high of standards.
Exactly. So like when you're building a car, you're maybe subconsciously you're dealing with these high-end handcrafted pieces, and you are like translating
and you're
that
also
into the
going
scar.
to high-end. You're dealing with high-end people,
right?
High-end. I mean, I made a video.
You guys will come up with all your own like. You guys are probably figuring it out better than
we're all
I
hyper
can.
analyzing him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
we hyperanalyze each other,
right? We're
So
just roping you into this.
Yeah, yeah. So, I got started at a young age, like working retail, and so just kind of worked my way up through retail. And retail was always like about the first impression, your appearance, what the customer is seeing, right? I mean, as I say it, like listening to what you said, you know,
makes sense.
So like worked for a few different companies, but then I got up to a point where like I was at the top, and it wasn't Coach, by the way. But
that's the only high end handbag thing that I could remember.
So I worked at a higher end places and like luxury, they would call it. So it was like you do get accustomed to certain textures and feels and appearances, and you know, everything was always like, what kind of image am I portraying to my customers or clients, and what are they seeing? And you know, so maybe to Brian's point, like maybe it was like
what you surrounded yourself with here,
right? Yeah. Because you got to a point in your career where you were traveling the world to high-end fashion shows and rubbing elbows with like some very important people in the fashion industry. Right?
Was it fashion shows or was it more? What was it?
I was going overseas and going to Italy and all over the U.S. and Canada to other locations of our stores to train other managers and to kind of give my experience on ways they can improve, areas of opportunity, and kind of report back what I saw. And then there was a few fashion shows kind of mixed in, and higher ups that, you know, you come in contact with a network. So that's how like the SEMA thing.
Yeah. I'm laughing in my head so much right now because this had me do a video at the store.
Yeah, so
you did?
Yeah, so I had to do a presentation one year. and I was like, I'm going to New York. Like I want to do a video presentation and show everybody. Like I want to one up, right? I want to be the top dog. So Brian was like kind of doing videos at the time. And so I was like, let's go in the store and we'll do a video. Like, so it was like, so people could see where I
did that shit to dubstep.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
And it was fresh, dude. It came out so cool. Like
That's
everyone was
tight.
like,
Because it was raining
Does this
that
ex-
day. We got the rain.
And does this exist on your other channel?
I have it over. I have it
I
on my
want. I
computer.
would like to see this.
Okay.
Thank
yeah,
you.
we will show that.
Yeah.
We'll show Frank that.
Yeah, I want to
So-
see that.
I might
like-
find it and put it on here. If you're listening.
So it was kind of like, so everyone I went to these places, if they didn't know where I was from, this was like a brief little video, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Damn, that's cool," you know. And now fashion companies, like, they all have editors and like
They have
people
like
who do what Brent
media
does.
and stuff.
I did it for free because Brent was a friend, but then I was like, maybe I can get in, and I never got any work from it.
No.
So
Yeah.
luckily, I didn't go down that path.
It's a different world, huh? That whole
It's
world
just-
is different.
Yeah, it was something different. I did it for 25 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, it was a part of my life, and then I just recently tried something else,
Mm-hmm.
and now maybe that's why I was like, "Oh, I want a rust bucket." You know what I mean? Right? So yeah, I can see how you look from the outside. You're like,
I don't
this
remember
all
when-
makes sense.
I
right?
had that thought just when we were talking about the Cadillac and just how nice you wanted certain things, and I was like,
I'm particular too, so like certain, you know,
yeah.
like at Art of Noise, everybody's partying, and like I'm over there washing the car. You know?
Yeah.
What I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. You're always
and
wiping it down.
Everyone's like,
representing.
yeah, like not for the trophy, but like I want this sucker to be like.
Yeah. You
On
want people to
point,
see be
right?
like, damn.
And so like we'd go to shows and people would be like, they'd wipe some stuff and or they'd be like, you know, like other people in Forbidden just be like, oh, that's good. I'm like, hey, you gonna wash that? Like, no. And I'm like, damn, bro, put some Armor All on that shit at least. Like,
oh, dude.
right? Just
Don't
little
look at
things. So
me.
for me, it was like,
yeah.
I did before I'm gonna chill and hang out. It was like, we gotta clean the car.
Right.
You know,
we got
I cleaned it the night before. We'll clean it when we get there too. You know, it was like, wipe
Which
it
I
down.
like. I respect that so much. I respect it, but I also admire it. Like when I see people sitting there just so diligently polishing and keeping it so nice, I super admire that. And I wish I could be like that, but my personality doesn't allow me to be like that. But I admire it. It's really cool. It's a cool trait.
I think your theory is kind of cool. However, like I just had this thinking right now. Like, so when I was like 16, 17, so my mom lived down a dirt road up in the mountains, and I had to go to high school like down below, like down the hill. So like every day when I left my mom's house, I would drive down a dirt road.
Oh, okay.
So before I hit the high school,
Wipe
like
it
I
down.
would pull over at a turnout.
Oh, I think that's
And I
gonna
would,
die,
like-
huh?
Oh, that is gonna die.
All right, I'll fix it. Keep going.
I would wipe down my car and like clean the rims, get the Armor All, like California duster it.
Yeah.
And like people would pull over like, "Hey, you all right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah,
know. Just getting ready for school."
I'm like, "Yeah, good, just cleaning it, checking something." Or I was like, almost embarrassed to like be wiping down my car, but it was like every day. It was like, no, I want to.
You
I want to come like.
You want to come
fresh,
correct?
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it makes sense. Like, I guess what you're surrounded from and how like you.
Because it all kind of it all fits.
Kinda
Like that,
meshes.
your whole life kind of like all parts of your life influence the other parts of your life. Yeah.
I feel like what you do outside of work does like reflect like what, like your personal and professional sometimes like collaborate. Mm-hmm. And so like if you're doing it outside of work for personal, it might overflow into your professional or
I see
vice
what you're
versa.
saying. Yeah.
Right. So for me, it was that image thing. So for me, maybe I wanted to make something like too nice or too particular.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes when they're too nice, you don't enjoy them as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I still did. I kind of forced myself to, but I don't know. It kind of makes sense. It's kind of weird now because I have this job where I can just grow a beard and get your hands dirty, and now
Yeah.
my car is all busted up.
It is.
But-
It is funny. It
Yeah.
is
So
funny.
yeah,
Well, because you couldn't go into your job looking like rough. You had to like do the, and
I had to wear a suit,
Yeah.
you know, and
That's
shirt,
using your
tie.
watch, like
Yeah.
You know, like everything was like
Then think about the grill. You said you took your grill apart and you
Yeah.
chromed everything because you couldn't have the one thing look like this when everything looked like this.
right. I guess the standards. I put too high of standards.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot. It doesn't allow you to have fun. So today at the reunion, well, you had my truck there, which is a huge pile of crap, right?
But
And
it was so fun.
exactly.
right?
Uh-huh.
Then you had that just plain trick frame.
Oh yeah.
That is, it's gonna be
It's phenomenal.
It's gonna be one of the top mini trucks ever built.
Right.
You know, like Tacomas at least.
Yeah.
And then literally 40 feet away is this pile of junk that was rattling. There's no rubbers. It's blowing wind. And I was having the time of my life driving it to the show. And like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's perspective, man. It's all perspective.
It is. So finding that balance of like being nice, respectable ride, because you have to have that, and that's why I give you crap like you're no center caps or
No, yeah, and
you know what I mean.
It's perfectly valid.
It's like
It's
when you
super valid.
had your tailgate down and the window up, and we were at the Unfinished Business show, and it was just like dirty and stuff.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
was
like
bad.
you look at it and you go, you don't need to do your full interior and make it look dope. Mm-hmm. But what you have, you make it look
Right.
respectable, right?
No, it's totally valid.
And that's the same with me. Like today, when you were wiping down my truck and stuff, it's like my truck's 2 different shades of white. It's primer, half paint. The things don't line up and stuff, but you still got to clean the windows and make it look presentable.
Right.
Yeah. So that balance.
Which I did. Was it okay?
It was good.
That was good. It was super
I'm
good.
just kidding.
Yeah.
It looks so good out there.
Yeah. Having a friend that likes to like clean stuff, 'cause I don't like it.
I didn't mind.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, but just
I
having
would
that
have done yours
balance
too, Frank.
Thanks.
You know.
had that balance of having fun and nice things. It's like a constant.
Yeah.
Like
Which leads me to that's why this time I'm rocking patina this time for a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll have fun.
I want to try something different. So it's like.
Are you gonna because with the Blazer you like color sanded it and buffed it and stuff? Are you gonna do the same thing with this one?
Yeah, I'm still gonna make this paint shine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
You
What
gotta
little
make-
paint's
You
there?
still gotta make it look good.
Yeah.
right?
Then there's so many cool little things you can do now with these to like occupy that thing in your brain where you do things like even Trey 5's got the nice tailgate click. So you could they got a kit. So it's just like you just lift the tailgate up and it goes click. And before you had to like open the handle and like shut it. And that's like a cheap mod that can be done on a C10.
And make it just kind of like nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets you something to do on the weekend, and it makes the thing that's rough, it makes it nice and polished and clean and nice. And then it gets you to the next thing. And then you do these little things.
It's those little things that kind of keep you going, right? You gotta find some motivation.
Keep people like you going.
inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like I don't know. You want to do something, get that feeling before you go to a cruise night, right? It's like anything. If you could just put a little something on it, it's like, oh, I want to go show it off. You know?
I do that too. Like in my own as much as I am how I am in my own special way. I do the little things like that. Like my Camry, the paint's kind of like falling apart. But if I take it through the car wash, the slapper car wash.
But those albums look good.
But that's it. I don't just
you clean now.
I spray them down. I wipe them down. I make sure there's no
so
streaks on
because
them.
you
So it's
like those wheels.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
like,
a good point.
You know, so if you find
That's a
something
good
you
point.
like, that you can like, it's just like finding a job that you enjoy, right? You know, they say if it doesn't feel like work, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Right? You guys are doing it, you know. So like, if you can do the same thing with the vehicle. Whether it's
That's a great
whether
point.
you're
So when you two were standing over by that truck today, I was like, this is not how this works.
That's not. You're going down the wrong path, Frank.
Anyways, but yeah, exactly.
I was shopping with Frank's money.
Yeah,
You know, like, hey,
He
Frank,
was the
this is
little
a great
devil.
idea.
He was the little devil. He's like, man,
Are you kidding
look
me?
at this.
Hey, because
Even I'm not gonna say what it was, but even the guy who owned the truck was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
But to me, it was like, no, but see, like, trust me, Frank, you can keep your cars now and add another one. Like, this is how
I was
you
in
do
the
it.
booth like this.
And just looking at him, we're just like.
Hey, but like,
And then you saw us getting in and out of it, sitting in his truck and
No,
stuff.
you told me, you're like, yeah, I'm just test fitting this, and I'm all.
You're like, no, you're
I
not.
came out of the booth and around. I said, no.
well, like, since I've sold everything, you know what I mean? Like, since I always sell mine, I was kind of like, Frank, don't sell a bunch of stuff to get one thing. Like, no, trust me, keep this one too, right?
Have it all.
Yeah.
Anyways,
What two things that's really interesting. You said that about the things because I love those wheels and I love keeping them clean. And I always joke that like when we're walking out of a restaurant or something, me and the kids, and someone is walking by the car or something, I was like, oh, I bet you they're saying like, hey, look at those vintage Alba Banks. Those things are sick, you know.
Right.
Anyway, but the other thing was, do you remember having a vehicle in between it was like in between the K5 and the Silverado or whatever, the 4-door full size, a mini truck. There was a mini truck in there.
He can't keep up anymore. That's what he's gonna say.
I don't remember anything. I remember the K5, and then my memory of Brent is just like there's these huge gaps in between. Mm-hmm. Like
You moved away.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'll see if you take a picture because you have a lot of vehicles on here.
Yeah, there was just like these huge gaps, and even the years don't get me right.
Yeah.
Like everything, because it was just like I just remember like Toyota at the meeting at the Bella Luna, and then didn't have that, and I don't even remember your S10.
There's a full size.
And then I remember Cadillac, and I remember Blazer, and I remember the full size.
Man, I
remember the white Cadillac, the white.
Yeah.
The,
So I had,
60.
there was a bunch of. I bought Max's Ford Bronco.
oh, the Bronco too.
I brought the Bronco too.
I remember you did have that. Yeah.
So like, I come across like random stuff, like I've or you trade something.
But you never were the type to announce you have something until you were like
gonna go somewhere with it,
or you felt like it was cool enough.
Or
to
I felt
say
like maybe it's that standard thing.
I think I think there's something there.
So there's you could have saw it in my garage, but I didn't show it. You know.
Yeah.
Because like.
Yeah, it's not on here. I swear.
So maybe that's right. Like I'm not bringing it out until like.
Until you get the reaction that you're gonna you get.
So maybe a little eccentric.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I would say so.
Yeah, but I don't know. Also, I remember
it's not a bad thing.
When I was into the Blazers and stuff, remember Jeremy built that one at his house.
Jeremy from
Tray
Local
5.
Finesse. Oh no, from
Tray 5.
Oh yeah, the red
and
one.
I was like, dude, check out this Blazer. Like, that was like kind of a changer for me too. Like seeing him on the ground like that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was around the time like Pony built that one too, right?
That black one.
The black one with the red interior.
It was. Yeah, it was around that time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because 2014 I moved here, and that was when I went to Dino's for the first time. So
and then he was like, "Damn, this is what Brent was talking about.
This is cool. Yeah. I'm going to make this my whole career."
Yep.
That's funny.
Dino does tell me all the time. He goes, "You're the one that made me cool with those videos." Mm-hmm. And then I always think about Brent. And I was like, that's dumb. That's dumb. Yeah. A bunch of Chevy trucks? That's stupid.
I should get like a little like percentage, no? Like cutback?
There's not very much percentage.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that right now. There's not very much percentage.
Positivity goes a long way.
It does.
Yeah. Just a little encouragement. Yeah. A little encouragement.
Right? I had a little like, speaking of percentage and how much money I don't make, when I walked into Panda's shop and there was one guy working on the 91 Toyota and Panda working on my Tacoma, and I was like, what's going on here?
You're like, why am I building two trucks at the same time?
Yeah.
Soon to be three. Well, maybe
not at the same time.
Not at the same time, but maybe soon to be another one.
3 could be 4.
There's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot happening right now in this space, and I think it's going to be. I think this time next year. Well, let's see if I'm not going to say mark my words, but I think this time next year, this whole thing will be really cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'm down. Yeah. I'm ready for it. Right on, man.
Yeah.
Get ready to ride the wave.
Am I getting tired? Am I shutting it down?
We're at hour 46, dude.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
See, look how far we made it.
Yeah.
You were so concerned.
Yeah. No, I don't do anything like this, so it's kind of weird.
No, it's fun.
But you listen. Now you had to listen to yourself on Monday.
No, I hate my own voice.
I know.
It starts off like that, but after a while, you don't even notice.
We're all annoying in our own.
On my lawnmower.
On your lawnmower.
Listen to your. You're gonna be at work listening to yourself.
Yeah, you get to tell all your coworkers. You'd be like, "Hey,
check this out. You want to hear me talk for 2 hours?"
Yeah, we'll see.
Right on. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for sitting with us.
No, thanks for the invite.
I like introducing all of these like different, like, no one. I mean, forgive me. No one knows who you are.
Nobody knows.
And now we're introducing, so people are gonna see. What is your? I don't even know your last name. What's your last name?
It's Eckman. Eckman.
Eckman. I didn't even know that. So now people are gonna see the drop with Brent Eckman, and they'll be like, "Who? What?
Yeah, who's that?"
Yeah, because they don't.
Some people will be like, "Oh, I saw that guy
on Marketplace
selling shirts at GTV today."
That's right. Yeah.
And I was like, "That's not Brian." Yeah. And no one introduced me, so who is that guy?
I know. I just kind of was like, "Here you go. See you later.
Bye."
Yeah.
We do that.
We kind of do.
Because I walked up today, and you were just gone.
Yeah.
And Brienne was in the booth, and I'm all
by yourself.
Yeah.
Brent wasn't there.
No, I think Brent was. You was over here, but Brienne, I was like, "Where'd Frank go?" She goes, "I don't know." And then you came back with your camera and
the
tacos.
Yeah.
Trying to, it's like, okay.
All right, that's fine. You can leave and go get tacos. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But good times.
Yeah, good times. It was awesome. Fun weekend, man.
Yeah.
And
can't wait to do it again.
Oh yeah.
Dino's this year.
Well, you're coming to the show, right? In a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I need someone to help me park cars.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about the parking car story.
Talk about
really
Paris
quick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going because when I first joined the club, and I was working the show.
Oh man, that was a disaster. I know where you're going with this.
I know.
I left you alone for like Frank.
Oh yeah.
Like once Frank got jumped into the club, it was like
Okay,
right.
so Brent was always in charge of parking the cars at Paris Fairgrounds.
And you're so good at it.
yeah.
Must be
You're out there dancing.
and those standards, dude.
Yeah, the standards.
Like, you know?
But you would get the car in, the next car in, the next car in. But it's very quickly that can go
And
awry.
it did. So my thing was brand new in the club. I think I'm still petitioning, helping out at the show.
I was like, hey, dude, just
and
park
you're
these
like,
cars real quick.
You're like, just park all these cars
I'm
in
gonna
this
go
area
get me
right
a
here.
breakfast, you know.
So he takes
Danish.
off. I start okay, doing this and then this one. I parked probably 50 or more cars. There was a lot. And he comes back, he's like, what did you do? And I'm all, what do you mean? I parked him. Well, I didn't
Don't
park
they
him at
look
an
good? Like,
angle.
it's all,
No, they weren't at an angle. I parked them straight. You're all, this looks like a Walmart parking lot. And from that day, I am terrified to park cars. I don't want to do it.
No.
I don't want to do it. It scarred me for life. But yeah.
Man, those mornings at Paris Fairgrounds were so much fun.
yeah.
I remember I sat on the same corner, and it was always foggy. You couldn't see nothing.
Cold.
It was so foggy sometimes we had to have people at certain areas to direct cars to make sure they were going the right way through the park. Mm-hmm. But Brent was always in that carnival lot.
Yeah.
That was the one near the BMX.
No, the carnival lot was on the other side near the rodeo.
Oh, okay.
It was the very big asphalt
Big
lot.
asphalt. The Walmart parking lot.
No.
Where you parked them.
No. I was you left me alone by the BMX park in that corner.
Oh, because by this point I had gotten all the way over
Yeah,
there.
you had already.
And
you
I'm
had
like,
already parked.
I'm done.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
Yeah, you'd already parked like
You're new and you
2,000
haven't done
cars.
shit.
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
like-
Hey, guess what? He's not new anymore, and he still don't do shit.
No, yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's 100% true.
But that's what we do now.
Yeah, that's why we have
But yeah, that's what happened. You had parked the entire show and left this like glass little corner to me, and I
That's where
felt
Freaks
so
parked
bad.
over there.
Can't remember who it was. Freaks.
It
yeah.
don't matter. They told Frank where they're gonna park. They're
Yeah,
like,
I
he's
think
like,
that's what
He's
happened.
like, kind of like, no, and they're like, fool, I'm parking like this.
I think
So
that's
it's
what
like, all
happened,
right.
and I just got timid, and it just got completely out of control.
You just stood there like, you were just like, but you weren't even talking to no one. They're just like, who's that guy's sign language over there?
I just
You know
run
what?
away.
Like, even if like that gap, we were talking about that gap. Like, there was never a gap with the show though.
No, there wasn't.
So like,
We
whatever
didn't talk-
whatever my car thing gaps were,
Yeah.
like every show, I would be there no matter what.
And-
the giveaway truck, dude, we didn't talk about that.
Oh my gosh, the morning.
my
Remember the
God.
morning we showed up to Paris at the same time,
Yeah.
and I was like, "You ready?" And you're like, "Yep." I'm like, "All right," and we just rolled up, and we just
Started parking.
yeah.
Yeah.
The giveaway truck.
Dude, the Toyota we gave away.
Uh-huh.
You saw pictures of that, right?
Oh, yeah, I
orange
was
one.
there.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
there. Yeah.
So like, my buddy Joe helped work on that.
Oh,
He's
really?
the one that did all the suspension
all
and
the-
all
he
the
did-
body.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
And so like, to hype up for the show before the show where we gave it away, Brian's like, dude, we got to bring the truck. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get it down there.
So we were supposed to give the truck away this one year. Greg drove that truck stock to Florida.
Really?
Yeah. Just Greg
Wow.
Ballard, that was in the club, took that truck with a sign that said "Win this truck" or something, drove it to Florida, and then came back with it.
Wow.
And then
And it was completely stock.
completely stock. And then we're like, okay, I forgot what year that was, but then we're like, okay, this next show we'll give it away. But then it got towards that next show and we had to bump it because it wasn't done.
Yeah,
We had to bump it to the next year. But we wanted to hype
Nobody
it.
was doing like, it was hard to find people to donate the work.
It was hard. So we
Right.
got Joe. We convinced Joe to be like, hey, can you
Yeah.
do all this work for nothing?
We
I think
talked them into it somehow.
we
like,
bought him a
it's
Costco toolbox, I
yeah.
think.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, I don't even know. It didn't have the bed on it. And
It was
I'm
just
like,
a cab and a frame.
Yeah.
But we wanted it at the show to be like, you could win this truck next year.
and it's
I remember.
bad,
It was
whatever, right?
great.
Because people had already given us
Yeah.
money for
It
the
started out
tickets.
gray before they painted it.
It was a 87 factory turbo
Yeah.
pickup extra cab, and we were like, but people had already started to give us money for tickets, so we wanted the truck at the show to make sure people saw
So-
it.
so, like,
it was,
it's an
it was
actual thing.
actual happening.
Yeah.
you know. So
Like your money wasn't wasted.
Right.
so yeah, I was like, Brent, we need to get the truck to the show.
We took a garden trailer.
No way.
The same garden trailer I have now.
And load that bitch up and
Drove
when
it
was
up the
already
ramp
painted?
gate. Drove it up the ramp gate.
Oh,
of a
all
garden
painted
trailer.
and done?
No,
Oh, no, this is pre.
no.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
It was
pre-done.
hanging off the back.
Oh my god.
A single axle garden trailer that you put like a riding lawnmower on.
Right.
This Toyota pickup was on it.
That's funny.
And I remember that when you drove up, and I'm all right.
It's like, whose lawn you mowing after this? I'm like, it was freezing cold, cloudy, foggy, but
because then after Joe, then it went up to NorCal for all the body and paint.
See, that's where I thought it got everything done.
No,
was up in NorCal.
No, Joe and you basically, right?
Really?
at
That's
Joe's
cool.
shop, yeah.
Oh,
In between, like, I think I had I don't even know what I had. I might have had a truck at that time.
Yeah, but that's right. There was gaps in you being active at the vehicle in the
But
club.
I would never miss, like,
you would never miss a show
get-togethers,
until the Laughlin. Then you missed a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's my Parker?"
Mm-hmm.
You would come
out Jeeping because that was your blue Jeep phase.
Yeah.
That was just life.
I know.
Phase,
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
But hopefully you come in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And to park the freaking cars.
Yeah. Me and you. Like, it'll be fun.
No.
It'll be fun. Come on.
I'm telling you, I got freaking trauma.
I love just having a companion. So
we can hang out. I'll hang out with you.
Yeah.
I want to see you dance and
Let's do it.
Plenty of companions.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Screen for the paint.
You know what? Actually,
vehicles?
this is the year. This is the year that I actually need a lot of help with parking because we've moved certain things around, and it's gonna we need to. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
It's all good.
Yeah,
got on lock.
Is there anything else we're forgetting that we're gonna be like after this? Be like, oh yeah, remember this? There's a million things.
Yeah,
the Art of Noise when you were sleeping on the TV stand.
Oh yeah, that's
Suicide
right.
Wings.
Suicide Wings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inside stuff.
The lowrider bike story.
Oh, I don't know I have no idea what you're talking about. Is it on my Instagram?
BS, dude.
You got pics?
BS.
Then it didn't happen.
All right.
No.
Maybe one day we'll get into the lowrider bike story because granted, we were both super drunk, but that was the funniest story I ever heard.
Do I even know it?
I don't.
I don't know.
But it wasn't that funny to you. No, I'm just kidding. I really
it was
don't know.
funny. You don't know? You don't remember?
Yeah. I mean, I've had some lowrider bikes.
Okay.
Okay, let's just tell the lowrider.
No, this is gonna feel like you know how Eric's just he's into something for everything. It's like I kind of feel like
maybe I'm making it up, but I swear you told me a story. You're like, yeah, and the only thing I remember is like, yeah, I was like cruising around the hood on my lowrider bike. I was sitting at a stoplight acting all tough, thought I was cool, and a guy came up to you and like,
that's a badass bike.
So I was right.
Yeah, you were right.
He stole the bike from you?
Fuck yeah. Got jacked. Yeah. So there was a brief time when I was like, when I was a little G, you know?
Yeah.
But
and then you got that knocked right out of you.
yeah. So I was like, I don't know, like you asked where I was born at the very beginning, and I never got it. But Southern California, I've been in my whole life. You know, born in West Covina, moved out like towards Banning, like Moreno Valley, Sunnymead, and then back to Banning. Went to live with my dad like in junior high.
Not just Banning, but Cabazon.
No, Banning and then Cabazon.
Then you just kept moving farther and farther.
Palm Springs, then back to Banning. But so my dad lived in Rancho Cucamonga, and so we were like, damn, Rancho Chocamongas, you know, like nice place. Like, all right, cool. Well, I lived with him, and I was like going through this like lowrider phase. So I was like, I got to get one of these bikes. You know what I mean? I can't drive yet, but I need this bike. So fixed up a lowrider bike, and like I wasn't at a stoplight, Frank. Like that would be terrible. Someone might have helped me out then, but no, I was just like still thinking I was cool. You know what I mean? Like mobbing the streets on this lowrider bike, and like I don't know what happened, but it was dark. Who's riding a lowrider bike at night? Like, you know what I mean? Can't see them twisted spokes. But why you guys laughing? Ain't even the funny part. No, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, so like I'm chilling there, like so then like I just decided to take a break. You know what I mean? And it was at like a little like elementary school parking lot. Like it was kind of sat on a hill. So like in the track home, so like I'm sitting there, got the handlebars, and like got my feet down on the seat, like velour seat, you know, and I'm like just chilling. Like car pulls up, like I should have.
Who could it be?
I should have just dipped right then, you know. But I was like,
car pulls up.
Right.
Who could it be?
Who's this?
Hey, so they're like,
I'm doing the West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Dude, true story. I don't know, it was weird, but yeah, the guy was like it was like 2 or 3 guys, and I was like, this ain't going good. Like
you can't outrun them, can't outbike them.
Like I can't just take off right now because like they already got me. The lowrider bike ain't going fast anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So he just walked up, and I could tell the way he was standing on me, and he's like looking at the bike, kind of sizing me up, and I'm like, shit, you know what I mean? And I'm already kind of off balance, like sitting down, you know. You think that center of gravity, Joey, it don't work, you know. But no, dude, was like, it's a nice bike, and I was like,
Thanks,
dude. And it was right about that time he just
clocked you,
got me, dude.
stole
I
your
was
bike.
like, got me. I fell off the bike, and like I turned around, like dude's already had it thrown in the car.
I thought he was gonna be riding away and like, ring, ring.
Hey, no, dude, I could have chased him if he was dingling. You know, like they threw it in the car and took off, and I was like,
What'd you do? Just get up and walked home?
walked home.
Yeah, that's it, man. What else are you
Walked
gonna
home,
do?
And my parents were like, "What happened to you?" Like, and I'm like,
You're like, I need a GT performer now.
I was like, man, they stole my bike, and they were like, what? They got all pissed. Like, we're gonna go look for him. Like, yeah, good luck.
You're like, I'm staying in the
Yeah.
house. I got your ice in your cheek.
I'm like,
That's
oh
awesome.
no, that's Frank's funny story.
That dude, yeah, that's so funny. But also in the moment when you first told me that, again, we were like super
Yeah.
drunk, and it was so funny. Oh my god!
You know, you can add a little like to the story.
Yeah, you gotta juice it up a little bit.
yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
all
it's-
good stories.
It's
So now you got to figure out the next time that we remember it, you got to add a little bit more to it.
ever since then I've been like, fuck lowrider bikes. No,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was it. That was
we're
that.
done.
That's all I
That's
got.
it.
You know, we could next time I see you guys, I got some cool stories. You know,
There's some definitely
there
fun
is
ones.
always stuff like that
Yeah.
we'll forget, but it's
The story of that you told at the club barbecue, and we're not going to tell the story because not a lot of people get it or whatever, but about you when you left your job in that industry
yeah.
and then you tried to get a job at selling cars
Yeah.
and then realized that,
That was worse off than what I was doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That story, the way you told it, you can't repeat
Oh,
it
yeah,
now.
yeah.
But the way that you told that story, and then
You're a good
Was it
storyteller.
funny?
it was...
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah, all right.
You don't
Then
remember?
the most hilarious part was...
The funny thing is, like, I'm telling the story thinking it's just a nice story, and you guys are like, now you're telling me like it was a funny ass story.
No, but
and
the
I'm
way
like,
you tell the story is really great. But what happened was you're telling us the story about how you went into a car dealership to get a
We're
job.
not telling the story.
Listen,
fucker.
it's just a part of it.
All right, go
Okay.
ahead.
You're like, I'm unemployed, but I need to get a job. I'm going to sell cars. So you go into the dealership and they tell you all these things. And then it's like basically they sold you a car. Like they sold you a job. And you left the dealership thinking everything was
Oh
going
yeah,
to be cool.
I got
So-
hired on the spot.
Yeah. And then you left and then you told your father-in-law, I think, and he was like, that's terrible. So it's almost like, so then little Brian was standing next to me while you were telling that story. And he goes, would they sell you a car too?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I
it
do
was-
remember that. Yeah.
It was just the way it was just
yeah,
funny.
just the way it went.
Yeah, but anyways,
Anywho.
we're at 2 hours
All right.
and
I'll see you guys around. Don't
Yeah.
be shy. Introduce yourself.
if you see
Yeah.
If you see Brent out of the
if
show,
you see Brent on the show, tell him what's up. You see Brent on Marketplace, he's a good dude.
Brant, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sell me
5-star
something.
seller.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
need for your C10?
Everything.
All right.
And
Cool.
nothing all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. All
My
right.
wife's like,
Thanks
how
for
did-
hanging out.
Real fast. No, you're like, my wife's always like, you were a salesman. How the hell did you get sold? And I'm like, I don't know.
It just comes
Like,
full
how does
circle.
that work? You know, but it's all
Anyway,
right.
Yeah.
see you next week.
Buy our stuff. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
That was great. So much fun.
That was a lot. See, that's fun.